Are you ready?
Someone else start this episode. I'm tired of starting these fucking episodes.
Hey
Fine.
guys.
I guess I already started it. Welcome to the fucking
Weeb
Weeb Club. Nun's not here because he put it.
No. Here we go. No. It's me. What the what?
Me, Vindy.
Hi, I'm Craftsdwarf.
You didn't say me, Craftsdwarf, when that's. Oh my god, this fucking guy's on my last name already, and we just started recording.
Sad.
God.
Sad.
I can't believe we just started recording Craftsdwarf on my last goddamn nerve already.
Sad.
So, we could have been recording 30 minutes ago, but someone doesn't have their microphone and didn't tell us for 30 minutes. So, I think it was intentional. I think it was intentional, so now we're just recording without him. He's in the VC right now, and he's fucking...
But he's not recording his audio, so...
Oh, I can't hear him. This is so
big sad.
Isn't this nostalgic, guys? Back when it was just the three of us, and there was like 25%.
Nun was just the commenter who everyone loved, and they're like, why is it Nun on the Weeb Club? And we make him come on the Weeb Club, and then like everyone still wants him there, but Nun is like the last person who wants to be on the Weeb Club.
It's so sad,
as evidenced.
Actually. Yo, Twitter been giving me some good hentai. Hold on.
And so, speaking of nostalgia, the topic of today's podcast is going to be...
credit card.
I'm sorry?
I remember, so you don't have to.
So, the topic of today's episode, what the what being ignored. Currently,
what the hell? You're so rude to me. What did I do to you?
Is...
Okay, well...
That, Oh, we're going to talk about how the Weeb Club is formed. My brain's
I believe in you, Vindy. You can do it.
You can do it.
Look, I did 6 hours of homework today. My brain's mush. So you guys got to handle that already.
Imagine doing homework.
But, no, we're going to talk about how the Weeb Club, how we all met, and then the story of how we all met, what we did before the Weeb Club, how the Weeb Club started, and then how we got to where we are today with the start of Season 2. Just to say now, because I know this is going to happen, just so people don't think I'm an asshole, I have a really good memory, and What has the memory of a goldfish.
What the fuck?
Because he has said before, and I quote, I don't know how I never remember how I met anyone. So when I correct people constantly about what happened, it's because I actually remember specifically what happened.
Oh my God.
Because an elephant never forgets, and I weigh more than an elephant, which means I double never forget.
You're a rat. You scare elephants. That doesn't... Are you... what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm a really dense rat.
This metaphor is confused.
This is a terrible fucking metaphor, actually. It needs to be stopped, this metaphor.
All right, so whatever. Who met who first?
Well, you guys definitely knew each other before. Well, I think you guys would have known of me maybe before you guys even knew each other.
I definitely knew of you before I knew of what. But I don't know if I knew what before what had ever talked to you.
What do you remember when you first became aware of my content? Actually,
this I remember.
Both of you guys,
so
I suppose.
It was literally right when you started making the Fairy Tale series. It was part 1. Literally, part 1 of the Fairy Tale series is when I found out about you, because a certain someone from Canada, who is very good at lifting people by their necks, is
well, we'll talk about them.
We'll talk. Yeah,
we kind of have to.
Back when I was making the Digi series, and I was like, fucking, yeah, all big A-tubers suck cocky dick, they're bad, Digi suck,
And you were cringe, right?
Yeah,
yes,
extremely cringe. Terrible, awful.
Almost like now, just a little bit more cringe.
Okay, well, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.
What do you mean? I said you're less cringe now.
You said like now. Well,
yeah, like now, but you were more cringe back then.
Why do you hate me? What did I do to you?
I don't hate you. I love you.
What the hell? That's cringe, man. Anyway.
What?
So.
I can never win.
So, yeah, he introduced me to this video because he knew that I hated Fairy Tale. Because I had just, like, I'd watched all the anime and read the manga, and I was, like, wanted to die. I was, like, so mad because
I was, like, wanted to die.
Yes. That was what I was like. I was like wanted to die. And
yes,
he was like, "Hey, since you don't like Fairy Tail, I found this really good video."
Californian.
And then I fucking watched the video, and I was like, "Yes, poggers." Actually, let me see if I can find my original comment on your video. Like,
that's right. Okay, so here's from my perspective. So I actually knew about you before you knew about me.
Holy shit!
Because you were doing the Digibro series.
Oh my god!
So my technical first exposure to WattheWut was when someone posted your first video on Digibro's subreddit, which I was like an active lurker on. And Digibro was replied like, it's just a troll. There's nothing good there. Like, Lachlan probably said, Pedantic Romantic probably said something as well. I didn't watch the video, but after a time, I was starting to become, I guess, a bit disillusioned with Digi. And of course, we're saying Digibro now. She's calls herself Beatrice, or B for short, just to clarify. And so I remember at one point I was like, hey, I see people being critical to Digibro. Maybe I should maybe they'll have good points and maybe, help me understand something better. And so I ended up following Mr. Cynical, who is Mr. Canadian's choker guy, and I believe at some point I started following WattheWut. And
unlucky for you.
I think our first technical interaction, because you did leave a comment that if you're gonna go try and find it, and I do remember what that comment was kind of like, because I was doing Curious Cat, and nope, that was not the comment I remember.
Well, this is my first comment on your video.
Yeah, no, that.
Let me look at part 2, because I remember I commented on every single one of these fucking parts.
Yeah,
dude, Jaxblade is commented on your fucking part 2.
Yeah, I saw that Jaxblade commented on the part
where
we did that comment video.
Oh.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy when I saw that.
Craftsdwarf's such a star, guys. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm guessing because I used him as an example.
And you're the one with the million view video. What the fuck do you mean Craftsdwarf's such a star? Both of y'all are fucking stars.
But anyway, if you especially if you find, I think it was on the second one. That's the one I remember, because you sent me a Curious Cat question that reminded me of that one, and I think I responded to the question like with a half an answer, and then I go, oh my god, it's WattheWut, and because I knew who you were. And I think you retweeted that question, even though it was an anonymous question. I'm pretty sure you retweeted it, right? And then that was our first interaction, and that might have been before Vindy and the BSA happened. But
I wasn't there for the start of the BSA.
No, you were not.
No, I joined like
but anyway,
9.
to summarize, so at some point I did eventually watch the Digi series and guested on the BSA, but that's skipping ahead of it a bit. But this was, I'm pretty sure, our first like interactions and awareness of each other. Like, so yeah, I did watch the Digi series and like it. So that was, I guess, at the time, so that was my first real exposure to WattheWut's content. And you apparently like the tirade, which
I really liked the tirade actually. Holy
I
shit.
found out about your content, Craftsdwarf, because I was a big fan of both Digi and Best Guy Ever, really the PCP as a whole back then. And Best Guy Ever gave you a shout out during Mia Mathova.
Yeah, because he did
the first one. Because I think day 2 of it. I think it's day 2. It might have been day 3. Maybe even day 1 was him dancing on Fairy Tail's grave, and in that video he mentions your Fairy Tail video.
I don't think
and that he
so.
met you at AX.
Because you're thinking of a different video. You're thinking of
Am I retarded?
No, you're mixing up two videos. He did do one video called Dancing on His Grave, and I remember watching that video thinking, because I was already working on the tirade, and I was thinking, he's saying some things, but there's like way more he could be saying. Like he was kind of getting to some points I was already planning to make. You're thinking of
God, you're like 5 steps ahead,
after
man.
I put out Tirade Part 1, we met at AX, we had like a 10, 15, 20-minute conversation, and then in his AX video, he brought up the tirade, and literally the next day, I put out Tirade Part 2, and that was probably the single biggest boost my channel, that 1-2 punch of Best Guy Ever's video, and Tirade Part 2 was basically the biggest channel boost I've ever gotten in such a short period of time. So you're mixing those two up, but they were connected, and I'm fairly sure I even left a comment on that video. I don't know if it's still there. But I do remember leaving a comment on that video. I think that you're the first one, and I probably left the one on the AX video too, because I was probably teasing that I was going to upload Tirade Part 2 soon, which I did. So that's how you found out about me, it seems. Okay,
right. And then I'd watched the tirade, and I'd seen a couple other videos. The biggest problem was like my philosophy back then, and it still kind of is to this day, but I'm more like sus about it. Like I'm more averse to it now. Was I used to just watch videos on everything unless it was something I had either already started or was very soon about to start. So like I watched your Fairy Tail video because I was like, I'm never gonna read Fairy Tail, and now it's like I'm very close to just wanting to read Fairy Tail to see what what the whole what it's all about.
Yeah, and I want to actually talk about that at some point because people I do know their only experience with Fairy Tail is the tirade, which I really don't like. Right. Well, especially knowing that that's their fucking bad videos.
So I mean, I remember watching the tirade as it was coming out. I mean, I subbed you almost like after like I watched part 1, but then it was one of those things where like I didn't watch your One Piece videos because I'd always wanted to read One Piece. I think maybe I'd read like through Alabasta at that point, but I hadn't really gone far with it, right? Because that would have been the summer of 2017, and I didn't really start catching up with One Piece and like making progress on that, and then eventually catching up till the fall of that year. So I didn't watch any of your One Piece content. So I only watched like sporadically some of your videos, but I still knew who you were and would have said that like, oh yeah, I'm a fan of Craftsdwarf's content. He makes really good videos. Just that I wasn't watching your One Piece stuff because I hadn't read it at the time. And then I remember whenever I caught up to One Piece, I just went back and watched all your One Piece videos because I was like, oh yeah, Craftsdwarf. And because when I caught up to One Piece, funnily enough, was when you were getting brought up on the Podcast a lot.
That's right, because I did Beyond Blood, and I made Best Guy Ever mad by saying that he didn't get Luffy versus Katakuri. He didn't.
Well, even before Beyond Blood, going back to when Jinbei was joining the crew.
Oh, yeah.
You were like, Jinbei, I actually think makes a lot of sense. And I liked Jinbei. I was like, yeah, I'm fucking hyped for that shit.
Yeah, I remember. No, you're right. I forgot about that because I did make a comment where I kind of compared her to Robin because if you look at Robin just in Alabasta, like, oh, how could she be a Straw Hat? She doesn't have... But then in one fucking chapter, Robin gets a really good dynamic with literally every individual member of the Straw Hats. And now that Jinbei's with the crew on Wano and starting to interact with them, we're seeing that in slow motion, right? So, which is just proving what I said years ago, that, like, we just need time to see Jinbei with these characters to really understand how he works as a Straw Hat, and where Best Guy Ever was being really, because like anyway, we're off topic. I just realized.
Well, just really quickly, it was super funny because I remember talking to a friend in Discord DMs at the time who was also a Best Guy Ever fan, and now neither of us watches content and don't like him, and that's a whole separate conversation. Why? Because actually, me not liking Best Guy Ever has nothing to do with me thinking he's because someone put it a long time ago really well. It might have even been the Canadian Choker, which would be his wrestling name, by the way, if he was a wrestler, is the Canadian Choker.
Hell yeah,
but was that like nobody watches, or it might have been Econ actually, was that nobody watches Best Guy Ever for his analysis, right? Like you watch him for who he is. But so why I started watching him has nothing to do with
well, because like I definitely did watch him for the analysis, but he really only had like 2 or 3 good points across his career. One of them was the Best Guy Ever video. The Angel's Egg video was pretty good, I think, but I having not watched the movie in a while, but like they're very few and far between, right?
Right.
But anyway, keep going.
I remember talking to someone else at the time in Discord DMs, and we liked Jinbei, and so we had a conversation about how excited we were for Jinbei to join the crew. And then the podcast came out where Best Guy Ever was like losing his mind about how much he hated it when like Jinbei was like surfing on the fucking tsunami wave. Right? It was fucking awesome.
Imagine seeing that not just getting hard. Right?
I remember me and my friend messaging about it, and then I think one of us sent the other one, like, your comment was like, look, Craftsdwarf gets it. Like, we both knew who you were and had talked already about your One Piece videos. And we're like, yeah, Craftsdwarf fucking understands this shit. Like, he's a smart man.
So and then you meet me and you're like, oh.
Right. Oh. So that's what's so funny to me is that, like, I had already known of you as, like, this good fucking intelligent YouTube man before I'd ever talked to you.
Real life is often disappointing.
No, I would not say I'm disappointed.
I'm very disappointed, actually.
I learned about how degenerate Craftsdwarf was, but I'm not disappointed because I have had too many, like, 6-hour One Piece conversations with Craftsdwarf to be disappointed.
I'm disappointed.
Because that will get to the point, but there was a period of time where we would record the BSA, and then Craftsdwarf and I would just talk about One Piece for, like, 6 hours afterwards. Like, every episode.
Or it doesn't happen on stream as much. Well, especially, I don't even know if you're caught up anymore.
I'm not caught up currently.
Disgusting. But we definitely had some long conversations on stream, right? So,
yeah. Well, and I think honestly part of the reason is, like, until I reread at this point, there just isn't much to talk about. Because it's one chapter at a time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because back then we were having all of like the initial conversations of like how we both feel about things series wide.
Because like I've noticed that that's also true even on my server where we just talk about One Piece, even though we all still really like One Piece. We just talk about it way less because we've kind of exhausted a lot of our conversations, right?
Right.
Or when I started I almost said it when I started talking on the server after What Made It. I almost said I started the server. I didn't do that.
Yeah, bitch.
We talked about One Piece for a long time, like a good while, right. Especially when new chapters come out, we talk about a lot of things, but now it's just become a norm and it's not as discussion heavy nearly. So, it's usually just a good chapter, but anyway, go ahead. That's off
so to
topic.
keep the story moving along, I think the first
the
first of us to meet and like actually become friends was me and What, right?
Yeah, so this is actually interesting. So back in the day,
do you have to tell the story of the BSA first?
Well,
I would say so.
Because, my entire persona back in the day was I'm WattheWut, I'm a shithead, I'm a fucking troll, I'm gonna start fights with people because they fucking deserve it, right? I'm gonna fucking harass them because they fucking deserve it, justice or some dumb shit, right? And like,
small anti-tuber mindset.
Yeah. Fuck small anti-tubers. I fucking hate them.
Fuck me, please. I'm grabbing my ankles. Pants down. Come.
Okay.
Fuck me.
Yeah, like, I was surrounded by people like that. I surrounded myself with people who were just as cringe as me. And, like, that includes the fucking...
Dude, oh my god. Some of the people you were surrounding yourself with, easily more cringe than you, dog. Like,
oh yeah, well,
I still stand by.
Oh,
outside
that's
of
right.
Outside of maybe Natty, just because Natty's
Natty's fucking
like
great.
Really
Don't
chill...
disrespect my fucking.
No, hold on. Let me explain. Because nowadays Natty's a really, really chill guy. I think everyone else you surrounded yourself with 10 times more cringe than you.
So I just remembered my first time actually like hearing what in a podcast. I forget what it's called, but I'm pretty sure it was with you and Flutter and I think Kaiser Trigger.
Oh no.
Yeah, that piece of shit thing. Yeah, dude.
Some of these names, dude. Oh my god.
Well, because on one of Best Guy got a letter from Stanford and he was suggesting Best Guy ever watch this podcast with WattheWut, Flutter, and Kaiser, and I watched it and I remember walking away from it, like, thinking more positively of you, What? Because Flutter and Kaiser were being really fucking racist, and you were just kind of, like, having no part of that.
I mean, that's the two of them, like...
Although, to follow up on the people being really fucking cringe, like, not that what, like, you know, but even then, like, I was recognizing that What was at least some degree less cringe.
Some degree.
Right? to be fair to Flutter, though, hold on. Kaiser probably is legitimately racist.
No, Kaiser's
legitimately,
kind of
yeah.
To be fair to Flutter, and I will say this, I don't think Flutter's racist. I just think Flutter's really edgy.
He's extremely edgy. No, listen, Flutter said the N-word more than like you said it constantly.
I think that's something to talk about with how cringe the BSA was back when we were a part of it. It was so edgy because, I mean, so if you took the three of us out of it, right? The BSA at the time was so edgy with its members just saying the N-word with a hard R, saying just heinous shit. And, you know, not to say that, you know, I'm not a little edgy today, right? Like, one of my go-to jokes is misogyny. But, you know, that's quite a few steps away.
Well, it's like our edginess is purely in, like, the joking ideologies we like the
right.
I realized this editing the fast food tier list, or not the fast food tier list, the fruit veggie tier list, which is like, because I thought about it and it's like, you know, we're probably one of the most racially diverse podcasts in AnyTube, and we only use that racial diversity to be really racist, and that's funny. But
right, well, I was actually talking to my little brother about this 2 days ago, which is like, I was telling him, I was like, I'm really glad that I don't hate women, because if I actually hated women, my misogyny wouldn't be as funny.
Right, like maybe the joke's not the most creative, but it is basically like like doubling down on it in a way that makes it absurd, right?
What I was telling him was like, I evolve my misogyny joke daily. Like, because he said something, right? I think he asked me about someone, and I said that I hated them because they are a woman, and he called me transphobic because they were a trans woman. And I said, no, that's where you're wrong. I don't hate them because they're trans. I respect their, them to be who they are. They are a woman, but because they're a woman, now I hate them. So I don't hate them because they're trans. I hate them because they're a woman, right?
Right, like actual misogynists don't say that. They try to
be like,
justify it, and or they don't go, no, I don't hate women. I don't hate women. But like there's always that, right? We don't in their joking tones. We don't try to justify it. We just like, no, I hate women.
Right,
they
and that's the
deserve
thing
to
is
be
like,
slapped.
I don't say that.
I'm able to
Stuff
evolve
like
this
that.
joke. I'm able to evolve this joke while it's very clear that I don't like, because I also like, if I was actually misogynist, right? Because you hear this a lot with people who are actually racist and people who are actually transphobic, or actually like, how many times is I identify as an attack helicopter meme been perpetuated by actual transphobic people, right? Because they think that one joke is so funny because they legitimately, look down on this other race.
Right, like
that's
but
race.
they look down on this other grouping
yeah.
of people that to them this one joke stays funny because they actually have the bigoted thing.
Yeah, it's like, because that's a joke that punches down. Where like an example of a joke, because I think I was on stream and I made a two genders joke, and that's not a joke that punches at trans people because it's poking fun at the absurdity of there being two genders, right? It's punching at people who are transphobic, and of course, like the misogyny jokes, they're not punching at women, they're punching at misogynists and making them look absurd and stupid, right? Like it's about the target of the joke, right? So
but yeah. I guess to continue to tie it all back is like, we were in a really edgy group back then, and that's why all the BSA videos are gone. Because, I do think there is a thing to say about like, when you're in a really edgy group, you'll say things, even though like at the time, none of us were like, because I know, I don't think Craftsdwarf ever did, but I'll just go ahead and say what, and I said the N-word back in the day. I have no shame in saying it,
because I said it on the Nen show, and that episode is not hidden away.
Well,
I have no problems with
Vindy?
admitting that. Like, I did say it in the past.
Apparently.
I'm a different person now. I don't say it anymore. I did say it back, years ago.
Even like arguably softer words that are still like considered slurs, you don't say anymore, like the R slur, right? Like you said that one a lot, even when we started the Weeb Club, and
nowadays I do say it occasionally. I think I might have said this recording, but I really try not to say it anymore. Like I've tried to cut it out.
I feel like I haven't
vocabulary.
heard you say it in a while, because I would think because I.
What do you mean? He says it all the time.
I don't know.
I've definitely cut back on saying it. I definitely try really hard not to say it anymore. Sometimes it slips through because something, to quickly explain for me, and I don't think this is an excuse, but I think it is understandable. I live in fucking Texas, and I've grown up in Texas. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I have to say anymore other than, like, think about the area I've grown up with and what the culture's like here, as opposed to people who've grown up in California. Who?
Fucking Flutter.
Exactly. And it's like the culture here is so much different where, like, it's not because it's not as progressive and as forward leaning with political correctness and things like that. You can get away with more things, and more things become just a natural part of your vernacular and things that you think are acceptable to say. And so because I've lived 21 years thinking that, the R slur is acceptable to say all the time, it's hard to completely cut it out of my vocabulary, and sometimes it slips through.
Mm-hmm.
But I do try to cut it back because I know it's not okay, and I've tried to stop saying it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so I guess the general takeaway I'm trying to get at is that, like, we have understandable roots in, like, edgy stuff, but also we've tried to move past that.
I think we've all changed since then and are not.
And one thing I want to establish is sort of like, because I kind of like when I felt, we'll get into this, but when I fell into the BSA, like I felt like I was familiar with that kind of attitude because 4chan, right? Like maybe and I, we both used it, so we're 4chan? Like even well before 10 years before I started like interacting with the BSA, I was very familiar with the same kind of edgy tone and aggressiveness. So like when what is like memeing at me, even though we don't know each other that well, like I got it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
back then, right? And even sometimes now, like not as bad. Every single interaction I ever have, my first interaction is always pure aggression and memes. And it's
what's super funny actually back then, and maybe it was because I'm just different or whatever. Like I'm different now, I guess, than I was back then. I don't remember, especially when we first started talking, getting constant aggression from you the way that like it is now. I know it was there, but I think back then I just like I don't know, but I don't think about it at all as back then. And I think part of that was because probably back then a lot of your anger felt directed at, like outwards at other people.
Yeah, like
right.
I was just randomly attacking people back then for no
like you
reason.
would pick a target back then, and you would. Okay, so I think before. Okay, we should get to how What and I met. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think. Well, because we already or did you talk about the formation of the BSA in the first place?
Oh, he didn't. No.
No.
Okay,
So,
you gotta talk about the formation of the BSA
because that's what we're getting to.
So anyway,
This is gonna be a long podcast.
back when I started the BSA, this was around the time when Mumkey got kicked off the PCP. I know this because that was the entire. So Mumkey got kicked off the PCP, and we were like mad about that for some reason. Even though looking back on it,
well, okay, hold on. To be fair, as someone who was around in the community back when that happened, the situation around them kicking Mumkey out of the PCP was kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, that's what I remember. Because
the reasoning they give, or the reasoning they gave, and the situation surrounding it, and because back then when they kicked Mumkey out of the PCP, I was actually I was really good friends with Meatman at the time. And Meatman was one of those.
That's right. He was part
trolls.
of Cream Man, Mr. Meatman,
Cream Man, Mr. Meatman. Yeah, all those people. Nick was another one, and I was friends with all of them. Like I had that whatever role in their server.
And I got that role too.
Yeah, we'll talk about that role. But, I was friends with all of them, so I remember the day it happened, talking to Meatman and Cream Man as it was happening, in a situation where we were in a private VC, so it wasn't like they were just gonna lie to the three of us that weren't actually a full part of it about what had happened, and they were talking about how B's video at the time was full of fucking lies. Right?
Oh no!
And misinformation.
There was even a point where I remember. I think a Mumkey claimed that Digi, that at the time, he asked Digi because there was something wrong in the video, and Digi said, "I don't care. I'm going to upload it." And so it just seemed the whole situation definitely seemed fucked. And again, they can kick Mumkey out if they want to, but the circumstances around it and just how it was executed was just not good, right? And of course, the whole reason was to get Jess back, but he didn't even come back for a good while after that anyway, so it's
and now, I mean, when was the last time any of y'all went to the PCP? Because I went there a week ago.
I don't know.
That channel's fucking dead.
Well, I mean, it got hacked, so that probably hurt it.
Well,
but then
it was dying.
No, I mean that when I mean it's dead, I mean that it's a Bin Saint and Hypocrite channel now.
Oh no!
It's not it's not like they're still making podcasts the way they used to.
Dude, they're even joking about it. They're fucking their thumbnails are just
graveyards. Yeah, because it's like all the people that were members of the PCP are just gone.
I just had a horrible idea.
What is your horrible idea, Craftsdwarf?
To ask Hypocrite and Ben Saint if we could join the PCP.
Dude, I'd be down to join the PCP.
Yo, let's join the PCP.
Let's fucking go.
Let's join the PCP. No, but it was crazy, right? Because I was on this fucking thing where every small anti-tuber is, where they're like, yeah, fucking pick a target, harass them until they give up, right? Harass until they admit that they're wrong or block you.
Or they block you because, there's this prevailing theory for some reason that fucking sick people have, mentally ill people have, where if this guy blocks me, that means I won because he doesn't want to have to see me constantly messaging him anymore.
Well, no, it's
you're either a teenager or you're mentally ill. Those are the two reasons people think
it's the reason. Okay, it's not. Okay, so sometimes it's true because sometimes they just block you without listening to anything you say. That's right. Sometimes everything's not a binary thing. But no, I agree. Usually it's because you're being fucking irritating and there's no way for you to stop.
So as far as I understand, the reason that B blocked you was because you would do these annoying threads where you just post an @ to someone and then you reply to that @ with an @to a different person.
Is that really
as a result?
Can I? Oh my god! I have a story to tell about one of those threads.
And I think that was why you were blocked by Digi.
One of those fucking threads where what would @ someone and he just continuously @ people, and then one of the people he would @ would start adding people, and they would continue on this chain. I was the second @. I was driving, from Houston to Austin. Austin, Texas is 4 hours away from Houston. It's an 8-hour round trip. I was trying to navigate on my phone. The minute within 5 minutes of me leaving, What had started one of these threads and added me in it. And at the time, and I think Twitter still has this rule, but at the time, you can't mute threads. Like the earliest you can mute a thread is from your first post in it. So I couldn't fucking mute the thread. And my phone died halfway through the trip because it was literally buzzing every 20 fucking seconds with ats. And I guess at one point, Flutter had added Cool Cat, and Cool Cat responded. And so that was this whole big fucking thing. But, like, it literally became this whole fucking thing where, like, I'm just trying to fucking drive to go pick up my sister 4 hours away. And I'm in this long-ass Twitter thread of ats. And my phone was buzzing every 30 seconds. And I was so... I think that, honestly, is the maddest I've ever been at What the What. Because I had to drive for 6 hours with no navigation. I remember at one point, my sister got in the car. And I was like, you have to navigate on your phone? My phone's fucking dead because of this fucking asshole. And I can't do shit.
So just to establish how much of a fucking annoying piece of shit What the What can be. I can't. Damn it, he's added. Oh no, he added you. Why did he at you? Mute the thread. Mute the thread.
Okay, but continue what with your story about the BSA.
What the fuck? Don't do that.
Then stop.
I literally did.
Okay.
What do you want from me?
Oh, I muted What the What instead of muted the thread. Oh, well,
what the fuck? You're so rude.
Okay, continue with the fucking story of how the BSA was created.
Okay, so yeah. The idea was
Monkey left.
Monkey got kicked out, and we were like, okay. So me and my boys, right? Let me just explain to you who's in my fucking group. We had Kachi Man. Kachi Man was like this guy who was big into Toku and like mecha. It was one of these.
Gets mad if you call Godzilla a lizard.
He gets so mad. He literally like blocked all of us because we called Godzilla a lizard. Like I got all of our buddies to like change our profile pictures to lizards. And we just replied to him that Godzilla was a lizard, and he got so mad. He like put it into perspective. I got to know him because he made a video shitting on Misty Cronexia and the 8 Seals. All right.
Sad.
And now he just does nothing but like make mixtapes on SoundCloud and like say really fucking Republican shit. So that's him. Then we had Flutter, who I knew because of fucking some kind of drama, and he followed me, and we were talking for a bit.
All I remember is that your guys' first interaction was like arguing in a comment section, and then you somehow became friends after that.
Oh no, yeah, because he like said he was like bitching. He was like I was like memeing, joking with him like how I usually do, and he took it personally, right, yeah. And he was like he was like freaking out that I was like he's like, oh, he's gonna shut down my whole channel. Oh no, and I have like 3,000 subs. What the fuck am I gonna do, right? That's the thing about small anti-tubers. Small YouTubers in general think that if like 2 people say something negative on your video, they think that like, oh god, he went on his fucking, because Flutter had this fucking Discord server that was literally just the baby version of the monkey server.
Dude, that fucking Discord server was something fucking else.
It was fucking terrible. And like,
I watched the Emoji Movie in that Discord server actually.
And like him and his boys in the Kachi screen capped this, that like Flutter and like Kaiser Trigger were like fucking freaking out. They're like, let's bring down the heat on What the What. We'll get him back for what he did. And it's like, and then Kachi and me had a stream. We're like, get Flutter that bitch on stream. I'll fucking argue with him right now. And then we didn't argue. We just talked and we became friends. Dumb as shit.
That's so. Look, I just want to say that is like the most What the What thing I've ever heard, because like, you know, he can be really aggressive and fight with people, but you'll notice that, like, Seth the programmer, you guys are friends now. How did you interact with Seth the programmer? You made an hour and a half, which we'll get to, but you made an hour-long video on Seth the programmer.
Oh, God. You know, don't... Okay, so, yeah, that was Flutter. Then I had Kenny. I don't know how the fuck I met Kenny. I think it was, like...
Kenny is...
I don't even
doesn't
know
matter.
Kenny
Doesn't matter. He was on one episode of the BSA and then left.
Okay, I was gonna say, was he only on one episode? Because I don't remember him at all.
Yeah, he was on one episode and he left.
And then Toolman, of course, he's a real life friend of yours.
Yeah,
so.
Toolman was there. Toolman is, you know, a bitch. Retro Chocolate. Retro fucking Chocolate, who I met through Kachi because of mecha shit and because of Digi. And we talked for some reason, and then all of a sudden we became friends. I don't even know how the fuck that happened.
Retro was in the original iteration of the Weeb Club, by the way.
Yes,
he was,
which we'll get to
Fun
also.
fact.
Yeah. Retro really likes Fudas. That's the only thing that you really need to know.
That is actually probably the only thing you need to know about Retro, is that Retro was, well, also at the time, and I mean, we were obviously younger than we were now, right? Because this was what, 2017, 2018, early 2018, late 2017.
Yeah, no, because I made
the
tirade. No, I would have made that. I made the tirade in 2017, and that's about when you started it. So
Yeah.
I think it would have been early. Well, that's what the BSA was started in late 2017, latest, or at least third or fourth quarter 2017. And I'll get to why I know that. But go ahead, keep going with the.
I mean, I've known
members.
What for 3 years now, easily, because we met early 2018, and it's 2021 now. So I've known What for 3 years, which is crazy.
Unlucky, I think.
No, lucky.
No, I don't think so.
I'm happy I met you. Shut up.
Cringe.
Take the compliment.
No. Yeah, no. You're about to tell the story about the 8chan board, right? The terrible fucking 8chan board.
I'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But we'll get to there in a bit.
I gotta continue. Then we had Natty. Natty, by the way, who was like sipping in my DMs when I met him back in the day, was like trying to get me on all the
Natty.
social media, dude. Like, of course, fitting. It's Natty. Of course, he's simping.
Dude, I fucking love Natty,
Mr.
by the way. He's great.
How much has he given you in Twitch subs?
I have fucking no idea.
Oh,
a shit ton for me. A shit ton for me.
No, because
at least, at minimum $300. I think it's more.
Jesus Christ.
No, he's crazy.
Simp.
Yeah, he's a massive simp.
He's also furry, so I guess that explains it. Well, at
if
least
we're
for
counting,
Vindy,
if we're counting video games, he's bought me on Steam as
yeah.
well. I would say $500.
Yeah.
Minimum.
So like then we had Mr. Cynical, who I met because of
you
Digi.
guys met because of mutual Digi hatred.
Yeah,
I
and he
assume?
came into my server and was like, "Yeah, Digi has a cult of personality. Unlike me, I'm unknown. No one can cancel me." And I'm like, "Okay, dude. All right."
It's so wild how he's become B2, like mini B.
No, that's literally what he is. And he keeps denying it, and it's so fucking sad. But like, back in the day, What's literally one of the best analysts on YouTube until I said something they didn't like, and now I'm not in that top tier anymore, I guess. Oopsie doodles. And then we had Gosshog. Now Gosshog is funny.
Yeah, I think that's everyone.
Gosshog is a guy who got famous.
You met back in the EWB days. For those who know.
What's that?
But I don't think you want to go more into that,
didn't.
right?
I actually didn't.
You did? I thought you met him back in the EWB
I didn't.
days.
I didn't even know he used iFunny.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he used iFunny. I don't even know how I know about iFunny anyway. So like,
I love how I kind of forgot that I named that segment. So basically, to explain, what the What's account on iFunny
What's
was
an
Elitist
iFunny?
Weeb Basher.
What?
And I used that as a basis for the EWBs. Because I thought it was funny, and also we couldn't come up with anything better.
What are you talking about?
And What loves to bury that part of his past,
talking about?
even though we know.
What?
I
About what?
normally since this is I like to think of this video as like a shoot. Like if you consider 99% of the Weeb Club, I'm a wrestling fan, so I'm gonna use wrestling terms. But if you consider 99% of our content, the Weeb Club, right, in kayfabe, right, where we're playing whatever characters and like we're continuing this whole thing, this is the shoot, right? This is us just being honest about the past and how it's gone, right? Like I said that I'm not actually a misogynist when any other time I'm commenting on the internet as Vindy, I would never for a second say that, right? But this video, the whole point is to be honest and be open. So I guess I'll shoot on what, since he doesn't want to.
What? What's that?
Yeah, I mean, what used to use iFunny
What's
under the
iFunny?
name Elitist Weeb Basher, which is why we use Elitist Weeb Basher for the EWBs.
Well, because it's like the reason I had to say that is because you guys kept saying EWB, and I'm like, what? But how? Those are like, that's a series we do on the Weeb Club. What does that have to do with the formation of the BSA?
I wasn't gonna say anything, but then
about?
you opened the door, so now we have to
Door
go.
to what?
Yeah, and then I remembered.
And
Right.
so
Anyway, so yeah, Gosshog, you met on iFunny.
No, I did
Yeah.
not. That's what.
no,
that's
he
what
did. That's what he's saying is he didn't
Oh,
know
no, he
that
didn't.
Goss used iFunny.
You know what his
Okay.
fucking iFunny account is? It's literally just him reposting people's memes and fan art on his account.
That sounds like Gosshog.
Yeah, Gosshog got famous off of basically just doing his own version of Demo's fucking seasonal depression shit, and it was literally just like a copy paste thing. And he tried to ride that fucking wave until he just fucking gave up because he was lazy. Also, before that, he got famous off of Ruby kill count videos. So yeah, those were my boys. Fucking terrible. And like,
Yeah, and as far as I know, you barely talk to any of them anymore.
No, the only one I talk
except Toolman,
except Toolman and Natty, who were like,
well, Natty was there was a big period where you didn't talk to him
because
right?
he was like working. He had like
Gotcha.
Yeah, when Natty first started working, he didn't talk to us.
Because that's what I was thinking. Because Natty like wasn't always around, is what I was.
Natty
remembering.
essentially, Natty disappeared from right before I joined the BSA. Honestly. Until about
year,
9 months ago.
That's what I was trying to like remember.
Just
but, okay.
gone.
Literally
Nobody
gone.
could reach
Nobody
him.
knew where he was.
Which is why he got kicked. The only reason he got kicked from the BSA was because it wasn't even like he wasn't showing up to record episodes. Because this was before I joined. You couldn't contact him.
Yeah. Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah. So that was the BSA. That's how we started. That was the whole meme. The first episode of the BSA was fucking Retro Chocolate getting lost and being by a fucking gas station. On the phone.
Because you were at Pizza Hut at the time, right?
It was a Pizza Hut, I think. And then fucking
I remember Pizza Hut being mattering.
Toolman fucking went to fucking was outside hanging out with his buddies or whatever. And fucking Rika just was losing reception the entire fucking time.
Back in the day in the BSA, by the way they recorded was one person who everyone decided beforehand. And this was how the BSA recorded its episodes until over halfway through the BSA. Was that everyone decided on one person to be the host. The host would record the Discord call in OBS and then edit that in whatever video editing software they had. So when we say Retro was lost in a parking lot, you were hearing Retro's shitty phone mic while he was in his car. You would hear Toolman on his phone outside. Like, it was terrible quality.
There's another layer to it. Well, there's two layers actually. One, so I only remember, I remember half of this because I think Guitar Skater said, "Oh, BSA foreshadowing." Apparently, Craftsdwarf and Vindy were both mentioned in the first episode of the BSA because I remember what and Mr. Cynical brought up the tirade on Fairy Tail and Craftsdwarf.
For some reason, I don't even fucking know why.
I don't know why either. The second, and apparently Vindy, I don't know what context Vindy was brought up in the first one, or maybe it was another member who joined later, and I don't remember who.
I don't think it would have been me because I don't think I knew what before the first episode.
I don't know. I just remember Guitar mentioning rewatching the BSA and mentioning foreshadowing. These people would join. Maybe it was Mr. Meatman because he did join. Later.
It was probably
Meatman didn't join
Yeah.
until later though.
Okay, then he would have been mentioned on the first
episode.
I'm referring to members who were mentioned on the first episode but weren't members then, and so Mr. Meatman makes more sense. So, but anyway, okay, so anyway, the other layer to it is because I followed what Mr. Circle on Twitter. I was a BSA fan.
I love that you're a BSA fan, by the way.
I was listening.
Did you not know that? What?
I know, but every time he says it, it's so funny.
Because we talked about this on a Crafts and What stream where we just talked about our perspectives. And I'll get to how that's crazy in a second. Like, the world sometimes, like, they're like, people talk about how it's a small world. Sometimes the smallness of the world, and especially then when you talk about like, the anime community on YouTube and shit, is so small. Sometimes it blows my mind. But I'll get to that in a second, right?
Yeah, I basically, you guys tweeted about the episode. I was like, hey, I know these people on Twitter. I'm going to watch their podcast. Wow, they mentioned me in the first episode of their podcast. And so I kept listening, I guess. I didn't know who the fuck anyone else was. I remember, like, Meatman, I haven't talked to him in ages because he vanished about the time we killed the BSA.
When we killed the BSA, he vanished. And you know what? If I'm being honest, Meatman would have been in the Weeb Club if he hadn't vanished because I still think he was by far the funniest BSA member.
Oh, no.
Without a doubt.
Oh, no.
Guy was fucking hilarious.
After I got to know him and interact with him more, I came to really like him. But when I first heard his voice, I was like, "Oh my god, that's his voice!" Like, and I thought it was not annoying. But then I came to so that was like my first interaction with, or my first opinion of him when I'm hearing him on the BSA and such.
Here's how legitimately funny and great of a guy Meatman was, and how much we wanted him in the podcast. Way later on, we kicked Retro, one of the founding. At this point, the only founding members left were Retro, and Flutter. And we kicked Retro for Meatman. And Toolman, I'm sorry. Toolman just didn't record enough. But yeah, you're right. Sorry, I forgot about Toolman. But, I mean, yeah, like, those were the only founding members left. We kicked Retro for Meatman.
Yeah, because that's the thing, though. Meatman was like... I used to edit videos for Meatman, too. The last video I edited for him was a video about The Simpsons, and he never released it. And he just went dark on the internet.
Well, Meatman did this thing where, like, Meatman's biggest problem was that, like... he was really funny, right? And he had things he found funny. And even if it wasn't like laughing, like even if he didn't laugh at it, you know, like everyone does, right? We're like, oh yeah, that's funny, you know, but I'm not going to laugh at it. But to Meat Man, because he cared so much about, you know, comedy and whatever and being funny, if you were unfunny, he couldn't talk to you at all. Like, you would just piss him off. And like, we make jokes nowadays.
Talk to me.
Hold on. Shut up. I'm getting there. What? We make jokes nowadays about WattheWut being unfunny, right? And sometimes WattheWut plays the Among Us fucking whatever on his stream. And it's not funny. But for the most part, especially in a podcast setting, WattheWut, like, you guys don't understand. Like, WattheWut at his worst, okay? WattheWut in the Danganronpa Let's Play we did is still 10 times funnier than some of these fuckers we did the BSA with. And true. Meat Man could not stand it. They would start talking to make a joke, and he would just scream at them to shut up.
Well, I remember one because there was one BSA episode where I called Retro a literal child. One because he's actually like was only what 14, 16.
No, he was 17.
I think he was like 17.
He
maybe
turned 18 by the time we did the Weeb Club.
Okay, I thought he was younger than that.
I think he was probably 17.
Because I called him a literal child, and then later on, Meat Man would like he grabbed that and like used that as well to call out Retro for being annoying. It's like, you literal child, and that was a whole thing for a little bit.
And like, Meat Man was funny. Like, I would have loved to continue doing content with Meat Man because I love the guy, but he just kind of disappeared from the internet.
Yeah,
I think honestly with Meat Man, I think the thing was he got way bigger than he ever meant to be on YouTube, and he just didn't want to deal with it.
That's possible.
Because he was kind of a troll as well, and I think he liked being small and being like anonymous, and I think he got bigger than he ever wanted to be and just pieced out.
Yeah,
like Meat Man never wanted to be someone who made his living on YouTube. You know.
By the way, in case anyone's like curious, a great example of how Meat Man sort of doesn't like the same joke is he made a video of like because Donkey made a video about Donkey clones and Mr. Meatman showed up for a brief moment in there. And so Mr. Meatman made his own video on Donkey clones and but he framed it in a way about because he gets a lot of those comments on his channel about how, oh, you're like an anime video game donkey, but for anime, and so he responded to that and it was funny. But
because he does sound like Donkey, but he is not Donkey. Like, his comedy is different. And it's just, the only people who call him Donkey are people who hear how he sounds and think he sounds like Donkey. But he never was.
He told me that the first video I ever edited for him was the first time people didn't comment about him being Donkey.
Huh.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, and I mean, so I love Meat Man, but so I guess to continue, Meat Man joined the BSA at some point. And I mean, I think Meat Man was in the first 4 or 5 episodes. Early on.
Well, who else? Because I know me and you joined later after that. Was there any other later joining members?
I'll tell you, it was...
well, there was Annie, but that was after we joined.
Oh yeah.
I think there was someone else, but either way, the way the BSA ended up working was there were a lot of people at the beginning, and as it kind of went, and there would be a guest every episode, but as it kind of went, there were a lot of people who weren't showing up. And
here, I'll tell you.
So
who was in the BSA? I'm gonna watch Weeb
going
Club.
into sometime before in the first 10 episodes. I would be willing to guess anywhere between 7 to 9 in those 3 was my first appearance at all.
I feel like I think my appearance was around episode 10, if not episode 10, and you were a member then. I remember distinctly.
So the way that I first joined the BSA server actually was Crusher, who we all know now. Crusher I was in the BGE Discord server at the time, which is where I met a lot of people that I'm really good friends with today.
Yeah, by the way, everywhere we listed, we were all members of the BSA. There were no more new members after that.
Yeah. So back in the day, I was part of this BGE server that I think it's still around, but nobody uses it. And you can't really find the link anymore. And I left that server, and all the friends I made in that server, we're in a whole different server now. People are actually in VC in that server now, like great friends of mine that I still talk to every day. But Crusher was a part of that server, and I met him way back then, and he was sending screenshots of Guitar Skater's Mao because Guitar Skater is such a fucking mongoloid.
Dude,
and so I joined the BSA server specifically to make fun of Guitar Skater. I didn't know who WattheWut was. I didn't know what the BSA was. I knew nothing about that server, but I joined to make fun of Guitar Skater. And I was making fun of Guitar Skater, and then eventually, I maybe I'd seen a digi part, but I would have watched it independently and not known, that the guy who made it was WattheWut, right? The same way you just click on YouTube videos sometimes and don't know who the fuck's making them. And then eventually I started, I talked on that server, because back then I was a lot more active in just a bunch of Discords, and I just talk in Discord servers. Nowadays I only talk in the Discord servers that I know. Mm-hmm. But back then, I was
like dead ass only like 3 servers, maybe 4.
Well, I was like 19 at the time, and I was like kind of newish to anime. I had only been into it for like maybe 2 years at that point, and I was trying to make friends, and so I was talking just in every Discord server. I was talking in Discord so much in so many different servers, and I just ended up talking to What a lot. And at the time, as I was talking in the BGE server and in the Monkey server, there was some drama between What and the members of the Monkey server, because essentially like what it came down to was What had said in some video, because we ended up recording a BSN. Okay, before this drama happened, I was talking to Meatman in the Monkey server in voice and mentioned that like, oh yeah, the BSN is really cool, and I know they have a lot of guests. I'd like to be a guest sometime. And he just gave me the guest role, and I didn't say anything about it, right? Like, he just gave it to me. The same way that one time he pulled Unknown Otaku into voice, and our lives were ruined forever.
Dude,
that was the first episode I guested in, by the way.
Yeah, by the way, yeah. So, you know what's even funnier about that? Is that when I told Meatman about that, Meatman was like, I fucking regret that every single fucking day.
Yeah, no, Otaku, another person What was quote-unquote friends with at the time that we don't like anymore.
But that's the thing about Meatman, right? He's a troll, so sometimes it works out, right? Sometimes he gives me the guest role, and then I ended up, I'm here now. Sometimes the person he pulls in is Unknown Otaku, and you get what you get. But, okay, so he pulled me in, or he gave me the guest role.
I wish he was unknown. Jesus Christ.
And, oh, my God. And so then this whole, like, fucking thing happened where I guess What had said, hey, because at this point, What was working on Digibro Part 3, because I ended up being in Digi Part 3.
Yeah, we talked about that. You found the DM, the first DM we ever had.
Yeah. I can go find him again for this video. But, like, What and I were talking about, or I think this was after I'd already been in the BSA, but maybe it wasn't. I just messaged What, because What was looking for people who used to be Digi fans that weren't anymore. And I stopped being a Digi fan after we went on this road trip, and then I think his content got... Or her content, I'm so sorry. Her content got worse. And so he was working on Part 3, and that's kind of how it went. And so, I was talking to What throughout it, because I took What's side where I was like, What basically said, hey, stop being so fucked to...
Because, like, at that point, they started, like, going after her real life and shit. And I was like, that's fucking weird. I'm only out here to shit on the way their content was being made. Like, that was it.
Right.
And it was like, when they started going after her real life to punish her for fucking, oh my god, making anime videos, I was like, guys, you're fucking being weird.
Yeah,
right,
and so...
which goes back to, like, where I had some level of, like, respect for What even early on, because I could tell that What had that line, right, between being, like, this dumbass idiot cringe lord and actually a bad person, right? Which goes into our actual real first interaction. But go ahead, Vindy.
So this was our first DMs, and I mean, I'll put whoever edits this will put it up. I think I'm actually the one editing this, or whatever. It'll be put up.
Make none edit it to punish him for not being here.
That'd be funny. I just don't think I've taken any of these to edit yet outside of the backlog, so I just assumed I would take this. But either way, so this was like our first conversations, and then essentially when this drama happened where they got super pissed at What, they bought the domain for WhatTheWut.com and made it some fuck shit. One was like,
really?
Yeah, they
yes.
put, like, they literally put it like,
it was like some gore shit on WhatTheWut.com.
Yeah, like they were trying to they were like, yeah, because they did that to Endless Justice, like, yeah, we'll fucking get him, and they were like, yeah, what, you like that? And I was like,
I remember hearing about that, but I didn't know they did it for What too.
Yeah, they did it to What, and What, like,
I did not care.
Jess tried to buy the domain. What was like, I don't fucking... Because at the time, What had like 5,000 subs. He was like, I don't give a fuck.
I made my own website anyway. Like, the domain's there, so, like, who cares?
Like, way later, yeah. And so, whatever. And I was talking to What in the BSA server at the time. And it actually was the super impromptu episode where, like, we were talking about it, and I agreed that, like, yeah, these guys are being fucking dumb. I think, it's not that bad. And then, I think because What didn't give me the guest thing, but I think because I had the guest thing, he just assumed I would be a guest or something.
Yeah, I know we did talk about it. We were talking about, like, Meatman said he gave it to you, and I was like, okay, fucking who cares, do it.
Right. And then eventually it just kind of became okay, let's record this episode. So I recorded this one episode that was entirely about this fucking drama right? It was essentially between you and Cream Man, who I'm actually still Steam friends with Cream Man, even though I haven't talked to him in probably 2.5 years. We're still friends on Steam, and I see him get into games sometimes, just because I don't fucking care, right? Like I don't care about my Steam friends, but either way,
nobody does.
Well, Steam friends mean nothing.
Yeah,
I'm Steam friends with this guy.
I'm Steam friends with people I fucking knew in high school. I don't care.
I accept every Steam friend request I get, and I don't do anything with it.
I'm Steam friends with that guy who passed flyers of me around at his mall.
Right.
Anyway, keep going.
Right, exactly. So then, like, I was a guest on this one episode, and after the episode, I assumed I would lose the guest role. But back in the day, with the guest role, nobody ever took it away from you.
Yeah.
And I never took it away from anyone, even when I was a member and had the power to, but nobody took it away. And then the next episode happened, and I was still talking that server a bunch, and then, like, it just kind of, like, I think they started to record, and I didn't join, because, like, I don't know if I should join, I'm just a guest, I just have the guest role, I was just a guest for that one episode, they probably forgot to take the role away from me, and what, like, added me, because, I mean, we talked at that point enough, I guess he was like, oh yeah, no, Vindy should be here, so he added me, and I joined, so I was on 2 episodes as a guest. The first was that drama one, the second one actually was supposed to be, Gabathy now, but I remember back in the day, was supposed to be their second attempt at being a guest, because the first time they were a guest, they didn't talk,
they were fucking,
and so everyone felt bad.
They were fucking, I don't even remember his name. He's so fucking irrelevant. Holy shit, actually. He's a fucking bro. Who cares?
Right. Oh my god. Who the fuck was it?
FNGR.
Oh my fucking god.
Because every time he said anything, we were like, okay, FNGR.
It was FNGR. You're right. Holy shit. And so, like, it was some FNGR drama thing. Or no, the first time.
We were talking about Digi, and FNGR was just randomly attacking everybody in call, and everybody in call got fed up with him. We kept telling him to shut the fuck up.
And so whatever. So then, the second time I was a guest, Gabe was also on the channel, and I remember both times I would talk, but I was a lot less active about talking than I am now on, like, podcasts and stuff, because I was really nervous, and I was like, I don't want them to hate me, whatever. And now I just don't give a fuck. But
yeah, you already know everyone hates you.
Yeah, so I don't care.
Kill yourself. What?
In reality, it's the opposite, but we don't need to talk about
You're
this.
Bitch.
So I remember that, like, after that episode, there was a moment sometime halfway in between recordings where, like, someone had just said, okay, is Vindy going to be, I think it was What brought up, because I might have messaged What or someone else about it. They're like, is Vindy just an actual member now? Everyone say aye if you agree. And just everyone said aye. And then from then on, I was a member.
Yeah.
But it was literally like I was a guest 2 members, and then I was a member the next, or 2 episodes, and I was a member the next, and then made me edit the first episode I was an actual member on, and I remember that because, like, you're hosting, you're the member now, fuck it.
Oh my god, Craftsdwarf, our first fucking DM is our fucking from. Hold on,
I don't remember what that was from. Do you?
I'm about
it just says craftsintro.wav, and I don't remember what that was for.
It's probably for the Seth video, actually.
Yeah, what I imagine, I think what y'all first talked on was Twitter. And What doesn't have that old Twitter account anymore. So Crafts would maybe have to go to his messages to find it.
Because, yeah, scrolling down, I'm seeing BSA episodes, audio, like BSA 14, BSA 19, the Cypher.
Dude.
Yeah, you'd probably have to
Yeah. It's 100% for the fucking, a
lot of our early stuff was on content, like, hey, maybe we should collab on Nisekoi content.
Dude, we were fucking jerking ourselves off. You sending me your
script for Megalobox, Love Live, like...
Yeah, no, it was for the Seth video. Because I'm looking at this,
okay.
Yeah. And we were talking about Nisekoi, because you're like, Nisekoi is one of my favorite manga now. Back in March 17th, 2018. I'm screen capping this shit.
Which, well, I'll bring that up specifically, but anyway, because I think, or were you about done, Vindy, or did you have more to say about...
Yeah, I mean, at that point I joined, and here's the one last thing I'll say really quickly that involves, I guess, after Craftsdwarf joined. But, like, quickly after joining the Weeb Club, we did episodes that had, like, guest stars of, like, Craftsdwarf, who I was, like, already a fan of. Pedantic Romantic, who I'd watched her content. Arcada at one point, and, like... Then there was Mumkey, the Mumkey episode.
Yeah, a little bit later was Mumkey, because I was a member.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I joined, or I think I don't think I was a member when Pedantic Romantic was a guest, but I would have. I remember thinking I would have been interested in being on that episode because at the time I liked Pedantic Romantic, and nowadays I just she exists. I hope she's doing well, whatever. And then Arcata, I think I might have been a member, but I maybe I was on. No, was I on that episode? I don't remember.
I don't remember. I think you were a member by that point, but I don't know if you were on the episode.
I don't remember, and maybe I definitely was on the Monkey episode that I remember, but
well, and I think after like talking to all of them, like Arcade, I wasn't as much of a fan. Monkey, I was a big fan of his content at the time. After that, I think doing the BSA kind of desensitized me, and then like the fact that like Crafts, who I was like a big fan of his content, and I remember the first episode we did with Crafts, I was like shell shocked. I was like, oh my god, Craftsdwarf, and I was like kind of nervous and shit. And now, like, I don't give a fuck, right? It's like, it's fucking Craftsdwarf. He's a fucking dude.
So I think I've talked about my perspective. So, anyway, so to get into my involvement, so again, I'd already been listening to the BSA, right? So I don't.
Which is crazy to me because that means before I would have talked to you, you would have heard me speak, and that's what I was alluding to earlier with like that how big things are. Is like,
yeah, like I didn't know who
was
you
like
were,
a fan of you,
right?
And you were listening to the podcast that I was on before I was on it. So like we would both, I guess, listen to the content that the other one was putting out.
Which is wild because this was like the first content some of the first content you were making on the internet, right? Or YouTube at least. I would assume.
The first content that's still publicly available. The first thing I ever put out on the internet, I was in 4th grade. I was 9 years old at the time. But that video is hidden.
Okay. Gotcha. So yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, because I never put on anything on YouTube until I started YouTube. But I guess I didn't think about how like a kid growing up.
I have content going years and years back that's all unlisted.
No, like because like Mathwas has said that she'd been doing content for a long time, right? And I was like, oh, like well before she started doing anime YouTube. And so like that's not a perspective I have because like by the time YouTube was a thing, I was in high school, right? Or at least becoming a popular thing. But anyway, so. I forget exactly how, but at some point I was approached about being a guest because, again, just from the first episode, like WattheWut and Mr. Cynical liked my stuff. And now, Vindy joined, he also liked my stuff. So, of course, there's mutual like, hey, let's get him on as a guest. Before before the recording, there was like a pre-stream. And I remember because I was on the stream.
Oh, that's right, because we do the pre-show and the post-show for patrons.
Yes. And so it was a stream because I was like, because I was lurking in on it and I had gotten the invitation to join it, but I didn't because I was nervous. Not necessarily because like, oh my god, like because Vindy, you were nervous about like bigger YouTubers. I was more nervous about just other people in general, and I remember that because like, I would have been, unless Meatman was a member at that time, I probably would have been bigger than all of you, right? So it wasn't about size.
Right. Meatman was not big at that time. Meatman was still really small. He blew up way later.
And I don't remember how big I was even. So I would have probably been not much more than 10K, I assume. Maybe 15
like
at most.
When you joined the Weeb.
Was I? Okay. Gotcha. So, okay, not quite, but decently sized at least. But anyway, so the reason I remember that is, so the recording started, I came in. And again, still nervous, but I was literally... And on the pre-stream, you guys were talking about how unfunny you guys were. So I thought it would be funny to lean into that. So we started recording, and I go like, wow, you guys aren't funny. Or I said something to the effect, dead silence. Like, because I don't know you guys, and you guys don't know me, and here I am joking about, even though I'm someone who was watching the BSA, I watched the pre-stream, and then I think Retro said, well, he's got a point, or something like that. Like, and you guys didn't know I was listening to the pre-stream, so you guys wouldn't have known that I was, like, following up on a joke from that. So it was just really fucking awkward. And then we did the recording as normal, and I remember, like, that night, like, lying in bed, like, why did I say that? Why did I say that?
Yeah, see, like, okay, so let me tell you.
I remember how much of a hassle. It was as hard getting your ass on the BSA as it was getting none on the Weeb Club.
Yeah, okay, so it's funny listening to, like, our approaches to, like, podcasts and shit. Because listening to Vindy, right? Vindy said he was nervous about bigger YouTubers. Craftsdwarf said he was, like, thinking about, like, anxieties and shit to say. You know, I remember when every single podcast I ever went on, either was, like, just being a piece of shit or, like, being, like, or, like, just talking. I was, like, I remember, when, Glass Reflection, I think, what was the first thing I said when we did the podcast? When it was, like, I was like, hey.
Well, the first thing that happened in the Glass Reflections podcast was he roasted the shit out of you.
And then we were laughing our asses off about it. It was funny as fuck.
And that immediately broke the ice to where we could just have a conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, what was interesting was, like, part of the reason I think I was so, like, blown away was because I wasn't making content at all back then, right? Like, I had been streaming for a long time, but, like, even then, streaming was still something I did way less frequently, and I kind of just treated content as, like, a fun thing I would occasionally do, but never anything, like, I never would have called myself, you know, a streamer or a YouTuber or anything, right? It was just something I did occasionally, and so that's kind of why it was there for me, but, like, yeah, no, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think definitely you, of all of us, have had the least of that, like, because I guess nervousness to.
I'm a piece of shit. Yeah, I'm a fucking.
But I wasn't gonna be the one to say it.
Well,
so the only other thing I remember from that episode, because like the topic was shonen, I remember at some point you two specifically, not anyone else, just you two were shitting on Sasuke, and I've been. So this wasn't the first podcast I was on because I'd been doing the Nen show for a while and rereading Naruto, and I'd already been planning to do my Sasuke video even, and I remember there was a point where I even said I disagree, and I was ready to start a conversation about Sasuke, but I don't think Discord picked it up, so it didn't happen.
Unlucky, I think.
And of course, I'm scrolling up because the first DMs we had were you sent me your Sasuke
yes,
script.
which I was about to get to because, you know, I knew you were, as someone who'd read Naruto or WattheWut, I don't think had at that point.
It was before I read it and I had this dumbass hate boner for it.
Right, because you would only watch the anime, and it was a popular thing. You know, dumb farts. Naruto farted on Kiba. Ew, gross. Why does this happen? Bad series.
I mean, well, that's still really bad. I don't disagree. Like Naruto farting on Kiba is fucking shit-inducing.
Kino?
No, I'm leaving. Thank you guys for watching.
But that's what I was going to bring up because it's our first DM interaction was because I knew you were someone who disliked Sasuke, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to give him my draft for my Sasuke analysis, and you're like, well, yeah, I have nothing to say, like even and of course you would eventually reread Naruto and come to like him, but
it's not just like is what I
yeah, no, exactly, of course, right, but
I would not have a Sasuke figure on my shelf behind me if it was not deep love
what a simp
for that man.
That explains the slight depression on his chest where you kiss it every night.
What the fuck?
Oh,
what
yeah,
the heck?
definitely.
You guys are weird, man.
But I remember when you sent me that script, I was like, oh my god, I'm reading a Craftsdwarf. Like I was like trying to keep it cool, but I was like, oh my god, I'm reading a Craftsdwarf script,
and it would be not just a Craftsdwarf script. Looking back, my most viewed video ever.
Right. Like, at the time, I was like, oh, my God. I'm reading a script of this guy? And, like, I couldn't believe it at the time. And even now, like, you and what sending me scripts, it's just, like, it happens all the time. That, like,
you know what's crazy, scripts, actually? Right? This is still back when all I did was make shithole fucking drama videos and fucking shit posts, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
reading
the chat. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Sharingan is bullshit, but I'm not really going to bring that up in any more.
We were both so dumb.
Like, and this was me, and this was, I'm just laughing because this is me whose opinion has changed on Sasuke because I was even worse about him before I reread Naruto. Right. But anyway, let's go ahead.
It's like, it's fucking crazy, right? Because I remember this entire time, all I ever did was, like, shit on fucking other YouTubers for being bad. And, like, that's all I did. And I got called out for it on the Monkey server, and it pissed me off back in the day. But, like, looking back, and I mentioned this, I was like...
Well, this became part of I Don't Like AniTube, right? Which was also factored into Arcada because he was mentioned in that video, and he commented on it, I'm pretty sure, right? Which led to the BSA guest appearance.
Yeah, and, like... Because, like, I know, the shift in the BSA, where it became, like, where for some reason we thought it'd be a good idea to try to be serious about it, was, like... Right when
we took a break and then there was like a season 2.
Yeah. Well, like what happened was it was like right like he said that to me. And to this day, fucking shithole Mr. Cynical thinks that he's the reason why I changed my fucking content because of course he fucking does. But when the truth was the man fucking roasted me hard and said that my only worth was that the only claim to my name was that I shat on someone else for making content when I haven't done anything myself.
Well, it was, and I feel like, you know, from the outside, what it feels like changed your content. It wasn't Mr. Cynical, but it was I Don't Like AniTube, and it was your love for Love Live making you want to make Love Live.
Because I was, like, arguing with people constantly about it. I was like, fucking shithole motherfuckers, like, saying things, and I was like, no, I'm done with it. And it was like, there were Love Live fans in my server that, like, were just telling me I was fucking wrong, and I was like, you're not, all right?
Well, and I feel like I know we talked about this before, and I don't know where, and in general, I'm sure we talked about it, but in general, like, all of our content has been shifted by us interacting with each other, right? And because like one thing I remember especially like made me like warm up to what it a bit more is after our discussion. I don't even think it was recorded like as a post show thing because you had mentioned a point about Nisekoi and how you liked it, and I dropped it at like 13 chapters sometime before then, and I was curious. So like I just asked you, why do you like it, and you talked about Marika kind of and how like she uses Raku as a way to grow, and how that kind of like other characters, like their growth is like a thing, and that made me interested in it. And then I read it and DM'd you about it, and like, hey, this is now one of my favorite manga. So like in general, what a lot of we were doing is like we all had these things we disliked. Like, me dropping Nisekoi is not a positive opinion of it, even if I only like would have given it like a 5 or something like that. I wasn't into it from like the first volume or two, but again, us talking to each other, and especially the conversation I remember was we were talking about how like one of us would have for some reason I'm mostly remembering what, and how he would be like, oh yeah, the ending of Love Live season 1 where Honoka gets tired from practice and fails, it's dumb, and people and I'm like, it's fine, shut up. Or with Bleach, and like you having problem with things because you'd internalized the overall discourse, and then someone new we talked about it on the episode 0, that's right, and getting someone new into the thing, they didn't have a problem with that. Or Onimaru has having the same feelings about Love Live more recently, right? So so us interacting with each other and sharing our feelings and getting each other, because I watched Love Live because of what I think. Or Vindy, did you also watch Love Live because of what?
I had already seen School Idol Project seasons 1 and 2. I hadn't seen the movie, but I watched the School Idol Project movie and Sunshine because of what?
Yeah, like legit, the meme of me corrupting people to become Love Live, to watch Love Live is just true. Every single person who talks to me eventually watches Love Live.
Part of what I think is interesting is that, like, because I think, Crafts, you were kind of touching on this idea that, like, none of us would be as whatever, as good as we are at media analysis or whatever, and talking about media as we would be if it wasn't for us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Krauss, you have the Nin show with MathWiz, which I'm sure also
I definitely think that was a part of that for me personally, because
right.
a lot
yeah,
of
and
the
I'm not
Nin
saying
show,
it wasn't.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you.
because a lot of the Nin show was me and MathWiz being dumb and wrong about Naruto and Bleach, and people in the comments being like, "Hey, you're wrong," or just like, because I remember we were reading, it was like the first episode of the war, and I'm like, I'm still waiting for Naruto to get bad, right? Because like we were just holding our breath for the entire series, and that never really like we had problems with it at the time, but it never like we liked the war, right? And same with Bleach, like we didn't love it, but we still like. And then there were people giving us interesting looking analyses that were like, whoa, I didn't think about it like that. Like the Nen show really opened me up to the idea that I don't know everything, and there could always be someone out there with a perspective that I don't have, which is a mindset I still try to keep today. And if you guys didn't already have that, like by us interacting with each other, that there's like an osmosis there, right?
Oh.
Well, and I think it's interesting because I think here's what's interesting about what we said up at the beginning, and it's actually super cool because I think none of us did this intentionally, because I know I didn't, but I just kind of realized it, is that like, because we all kind of knew of each other before we started interacting. And I mean, obviously part of it is that we, even back then and today, we kept a very open mind about discussion with media in mind,
kiss me.
and are willing to admit that we were wrong and change our minds. But I think that because we all kind of knew of each other and had a respect for each other before we ever met, it allowed to where when we did start talking, we were way more open to the ideas the other person would present, right? Because even you, when you messaged me, you're like, yeah, I'd want to hear your opinion on it after reading the Sasuke script, to hear what you think, and
right.
if it changes your mind.
Or again with me and Nisekoi, where like I'm open to being wrong about Nisekoi, and it turned out for the best. I really love Nisekoi, not as much as you guys, but I still really like it.
And I think that because we all respected each other already, it allowed us to kind of since we've met, essentially. I mean, some of you and What's first DMs and some of you and Mai's first DMs have been already kind of building this, like, talking about media and anime and storytelling. And so because of that mutual respect we all kind of had from the beginning, we've been able to evolve how we feel about media over the last 2-3 years. And we've definitely had a
synergy with each other that like the other BSA members didn't have, because they either don't talk to us or each other in the same way. Like very few of them, like again, Toolman and Natty, but through he was, he wasn't even really on the BSA when I was there, right? Like because he died. But now he's interacting mostly with you guys. And then,
God, it's been
like, well, because especially, I guess, so, do we have any more specific talk about the BSA, or should we get to the BSA Weeb Club? Because that's kind of where I'm, like, transitioning.
Yeah, because, like,
right, here's the one thing I was going to say. I didn't realize this, Crafts. Even these DMs, and these actually weren't the first DMs. The first DMs were Weeb Club audio recordings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing of what asking you to help him with the part 3 script that I sent to you. For some reason, I sent it to you. But it's been 3 years that I've known both of y'all. And I mean, even this DM will be 3 years old by the time this video comes out. Which is fucking crazy. I just wanted to mention that it's been 3 years that we've been talking about this. And I mean, over the past 3 years.
Before we get to the Weeb Club, we should talk about our help with the Digi series and the Seth video. Because that's really when I joined the BSA.
Look, let's put it this way.
Well, I
the
think
only people I trusted to help me on the Seth video were these two here. They were the only ones that I trusted enough to
and
work
to
with.
be fair, here's how crazy it was. At the time the Seth video was made, I hadn't read Dragon Ball.
That's right. Because you only really talked about, like, debate and
I only
rhetoric,
talked about Seth's
right?
debate tactics.
I remember you specifically said, I don't know shit about Dragon Ball, but I can talk about debates. And I was like, okay, cool. Because, like...
and now it's one of your favorite mangas, so that's funny.
Yeah, it's really
Let's
funny.
talk about Digipart 3, because Digipart 3 was, like, a massive shit.
That was before, yes.
Because Digipart 3 was when I realized, holy shit, I'm a fucking idiot.
Honestly, Digipart 3 is I don't like Annie 2 before I don't like Annie 2.
I don't like Annie 2.5, right? Like, it's the beta version.
Yeah, because it's like,
it definitely
it's me being like, holy shit. Like, Digi, you're wrong. But ultimately, right, there's some dumb shit being spread around. This is when WattheWut became mega fucking, hey guys, WattheWut, everyone else is wrong except for me.
Yeah, like, and I think you also got, like, you getting other people's, like, perspectives and opinions was also, like, a good move since it was no longer... Like, I remember, I think May and Lachlan had watched that video and were trying to get Digi to watch it, but she never did.
Yeah, because it was legitimately good and it wasn't just this toxic
even
troll
like they
video.
were even like Lachlan at the time was like, yeah, WattheWut is obviously, like, gotten better about the whole thing. Even though Lachlan's a piece of shit and accused me of only watching ReZero for fucking views.
That was kind of a...
fucking cringe. Terrible human being.
About that.
But, like, it's so fucking interesting, right? Because that was when everything shifted. That's when everything started shifting, and the drama fuckers were starting to get a little upset with me because all of a sudden, the person that they thought I fucking was like realizing that he was being fucking stupid.
Yeah, and I guess to tie that back to the BSA is that Vindy had a part, like, I didn't record a part in that video because I was still like
you told me you did.
I was gonna say transitioning.
You told me you didn't.
But that's a funny word to be using in the context of Digi specifically because she would later transition. But no, I was still like a fan of Digi at the time. But like I was definitely watching specifically. I think it was like I remember the day I watched parts 1 and 2. Digi made a tweet and she said something like, because I think she put out like music videos on her side channel or something about like how, her fans don't care. They just want this like drunk asshole or something like that. And I actually like respected Digi a lot. And I was kind of like disheartened by that like comment about her fans, right? Where she's like...
She basically said you guys were fucking slaves who'd eat whatever the fuck she made, right?
Sure. So it was something I could. There's no way I could find that tweet anyway. Well, I think I even tried.
Wasn't it on a fucking like blocked account?
Super old now. That's possible too, and it's super. It's again gonna be 3 years old.
Yeah,
right.
Digi's gone through like how many fucking accounts? Or no, I'm thinking of Nino actually. Holy shit.
Yeah, I didn't think she'd gone through that many. Maybe she's. I mean, especially because I think the one I'm thinking of it was like Digibra, BRAH, which she might have abandoned that one for a handle more reflective of her current like identity. But if not, right. So that if she has gone through multiple, that's probably the reason. But so that basically, so I didn't
trust me, I sucked
in Digipart 3 that way, but I did look over the script and say that I had no problems with it. Right. So like I was already helping you with your content even before becoming a BSA member.
God, you guys need to talk.
Is what I'm trying to get at.
And I remember getting you to join the BSA was a fucking hassle.
Because you just like
we like mainly what and I wanted you in.
We really, I remember really wanted you in.
What had the most say in the BSA, and 90% of the time people didn't care. So if there's anything anyone cared about, they had more say. And so since what was like the one with the most say, and then I cared about wanting you in. We had the most say, and you were like, I don't know if I'd contribute anything. I don't know if
you're
y'all would
fucking
actually want me
pissing
in.
and
I
bitching
would
about it.
contribute
We were
anything
so
to the
mad.
recording.
We were.
And then look at what it's evolved into now. So fuck you. You were wrong.
Imagine.
I see how I remember it is because you guys brought me into voice, and yeah, that's all I remember. And I thought I said I just maybe I was adverse. Okay, it's been a while, so maybe I was.
Yeah, you were adverse to it, you little bitch.
And well, what's funny is because before we can talk about you actually joining, we have to talk about this because we started the BSA Weeb Club before you joined.
Because, oh yeah,
you did 3 episodes before
we
Crafts
wanted him
joined.
to be part of that for so long because we were like, yeah, because Craftsdwarf, yeah, he made the fairy tale series. He's so cool.
Well, because the first one you did was ID 0, right? And then B the beginning?
Yeah,
It was ID 0,
You joined
which was
for
the 3 that was me, What, and Retro. Then B the beginning, which was just me and What. That show's getting a season 2, by
God,
the
I'm
way.
so- we're
and
gonna
I
cover
think
it.
we should watch season 1
we
and 2
should.
for the new
Dude, I'm
Weeb
so.
That would be a good
I'm
idea because
so
I haven't seen either,
fucking,
or I haven't seen season.
You have
1.
no idea
But,
how horny I
We
am.
both thought season
episode-
1 was really good, and I'm
You have
super
no
excited
idea.
And no
for
one
season
liked
2.
it on A2. I remember
Guess
that.
they're
But anyway,
stupid.
episode 3 was placed further in the universe, which was my first
Yeah,
one, right?
that was the first one because
Okay.
that was one where all
Which
of
of
us,
course, what a fucking first one to be, because it's like literally like most of like all 3 of us fucking adore it. Like it's
In
not,
our favorite anime, yeah.
right? It's like
it's
holy
my
shit.
what is it? What is the number I have it at? I don't know.
I think you
It's like
said
my fifth,
you
I
said
think,
it was
maybe.
your
It's
third
lowered
favorite at the
since
time,
because
but it
I've
might
been
have
thinking
lowered,
more about
knocked
it.
down. Yes, right, and you probably haven't rewatched it.
Yeah,
right?
I haven't watched it since then. Since 2019. Holy shit.
Oh, I haven't either.
No,
I've watched
2018.
it twice. I've watched it twice, but I haven't watched it a third
Unless
time
you've
since
watched it again.
a certain thing in my real life happened. But anyway,
Yeah.
So yeah, well, anyway, so I guess talk about the formation of that with Retro, because
Well, so we kind of the way it happened was.
oh no, we
at
skipped the
this
Seth
point-
video. I'm sorry, but I guess we could talk about the Weeb Club and then go back to the Seth video. Like, we're time traveling now, but
it doesn't matter.
Sorry.
Time really doesn't fucking matter, really. Basically, what happened was I remember me. We'll talk about the because me, Retro, and Vindy all wanted an excuse to talk about anime, because
Well, we were wanting to do more content, and we even posed doing the Weeb Club as an open invitation to anyone in the BSA.
And
that
none
was
of them
a
wanted
member
to do
that
it.
Wanted to do it.
Well, we
No one else wanted to
there
do it
was a
other than
later
us
real.
three.
So just to skip ahead as to like to talk about that for a second, nobody wanting to do it is when the BSA ended. I remember pointing it out because we were talking about like, okay, what should we do next? Like, what should we do? Like, because if we're like, especially us 3 wanted to do something more serious, and we kind of posed the question of like, okay, so what do we do? And I think Vindy even said like, well, we should do something we all can do. And I kind of point out we don't have anything like that. Because, like, Toolman's only into video games, which no one else is really into, but then What doesn't really play video games. So even just with those 2, like, there's not a lot of common interest, right?
Right.
And so even, discounting the rest of the Weeb Club members who, we all have our different interests and stuff. So it's like, I think the only one who was still interested in doing something was Flutter, but we also kind of, like, cut him out because he's cringe.
what the fuck?
That's how I remember
he's
it.
not wrong.
Well, like
He's
I'm just
not wrong.
because I remember he was sounded pretty down for whatever we do, but the Weeb Club started with just the 3 of us. I'm just saying.
No,
No,
Crafts is
you're right, but
I
I'm just
think
saying,
I
what the
remember
fuck?
either messaging because we'll get to that. We'll get to that because Flutter being in it meant it would have been more than just Flutter being in it.
There's
but
a
we'll get to
whole
that
ass
later.
thing.
But
for that,
that's
yeah.
basically I'm using that as a sort of anecdote to talk about like how like. Yeah, there's a reason no one else really joined the BSA Weeb Club because there's kind of a fundamental disconnect in like interests and like just even like how we talk about things, right? But anyway, Retro was the only one who
Yeah,
did
and
join,
so it was
though.
the 3 of us, and actually I think the first few episodes didn't go too bad outside of being like they were cringe in the way the early BSA was cringe and bad, but like I didn't hate Retro in those first few episodes, and I thought it was about the same way, and I'd still be curious and interested in going back and talking about most of those shows and stuff, because like y'all did Joe at one point for that old one,
That's
and
right,
Tokuger
yeah.
for that old Weeb Club. I'd be super
were,
interested
like-
in going back
those
and
were the
talking
last
about
things
all
we
the
did,
stuff we did
actually,
with
yeah.
the old Weeb Club. Yeah. But yeah, so we just kind of started it out of a wanting to do more with the BSA, and I mean I think it was telling that when we tried to do more with the BSA, only 3 of like 9 members wanted to be a part of it.
And then I joined, and I kind of I was like, this seems interesting. Like, look, an excuse to watch things, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was totally
Right.
like, what we are doing the paired off content now, and literally all of it is excuse to watch things, and I was down for that. I was messaging. I've sent at least like the only person I didn't bug the shit out of for the first episode was What, because I know you're super busy and you can't just let's watch Kamen Rider Kuka. Like that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's
right?
unfortunate.
But with Nun and Vindy, I was like, okay, like Vindy, you have a big fucking list of shoujo manga to pick from now, right? Like,
right.
And with Nun, I was trying to figure out what to do, and he was like, well, I don't want to do Pokemon, right? Like that's just
Nun's
the thing that I'm interested in is experiencing media and talking about it, and that's like most of what I do in podcast. Like that's what the Nen show is, and we've been doing that for even longer than the BSA. I was on the BSA rather, right? So it's like, so of course I was into the idea of the BSA. I was like, hey, can I? Place for the Universe? I haven't seen it. Sure, I'll watch anything for a discussion. I don't care. Oops,
what a horror!
It's one of my
for
favorite anime now.
What a fucking horror for anime you are! Holy shit!
Yes.
Doesn't even deny it.
And well, like, and that was an interesting first episode one because even Retro, who doesn't like
anything that's not
slice of life, grounded shit. Like it's got to have magic or mecha or something, and people getting beaten
and
up.
girls with cocks, basically.
Girls with cocks, right? And none of these girls, they were cute, no cocks.
I wanted to give them some cocks, if you know what I'm saying.
But he still liked it, is the thing. Like he's like, at least he said he didn't like it. He said it made him cry and was one of only 4 pieces of media to do so, or something like that. He said like he didn't like he gave it the most glowing recommendation he possibly could have as someone who doesn't like this type of show at all. Or the other 3 of us fucking adored it. So it was an interesting first episode.
Yeah, it kind of became a meme that he literally doesn't like anything except fucking.
Yeah, and I feel bad about it now because, like, I think, like, there's definitely aspects to Retro, like, looking back, I find are kind of cringe and annoying. Like, one of the reasons I didn't talk to him much is because, like, the way he is when it comes to, like, negative feelings, right? Like, the reason the literal child thing I haven't is because he was making really edgy, bad jokes about, like, throwing stones at people cosplaying what's her name, 02?
Yeah, and we were like making fun of him because it was like, dude, that's really cringe.
Yeah, and it's like I haven't seen the show. Like he's just being really angry about like, and especially this was a me who finished the tirade, and after the tirade, my like anger towards media really just like plummeted. Like I don't get mad at things like between like
he would get mad about stuff. Yeah,
and so like that really didn't like click with me, and I think I remember like you would later say like this is when you realize like it was like Retro's time was up on the BSA, and it was because during one of the podcasts I was just kind of like asking. I would like I don't remember being aggressive about it, but it ended up I feel like looking back it kind of became that because I was just asking like Retro why was he part of the BSA Weeb Club when he only likes one or two, like a small kind of thing like.
Right.
The idea of just fundamentally like that the whole thing because we watched Legend of Black Heaven and that was a show he picked and you even saw from the cover art this is like the most retro anime and he fucking hated it. So it's like okay, I'm not going to pick things with retro in mind. I'm going to pick things with me in mind and he's going to hate that. That's probably going to be the same with What and Vindy. And then he's the only one who's going to pick stuff that he's going to like. And most of the time he's not going to even like it. So I was just kind of asking him like why are you even on the Weeb Club if you're gonna hate most of what we watch? And he didn't really have an answer. And looking back, I was kind of bullying him. And like I said, you would later said like, yeah, this because the Meatman stuff was also going on at the same time, and you kind of realized that like Retro's time on the BSA was coming to an end during that conversation. But like
it was, yeah, I mean it was just a lot, and it was like every time we recorded it was either the Weeb Club, which was Retro not liking what we were watching and that causing issues because Retro didn't like it, and so there was like this, even if the 3 of us liked it, we're trying to be fair about it. Retro was just screaming about how terrible it was because it wasn't.
Right, Legend of Black Heaven being a great
show.
example because he hated it, but we were like, well, we like the show it wants to be, or it could have been, but we just don't like the show. Like, we were being much more fair and reasoned about it, and so, like, there's, like, a personality difference is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, and then it was either that, which, I mean, we already mentioned, like, we respect each other, and we were all, like, the 3 of us were also all super open to different ideas, right? And, sometimes, you could hear that and be like, the fuck are you fucking talking about? You guys scream at each other constantly. But we scream at each other constantly because it's funny, right? At the end of the day, if I don't like something and what and Crafts do, I might scream at them that they're wrong. But in my head, coming out of the recordings, be like, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should give it another shot and see if I was, if maybe my mind could be changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And with retro is like I do kind of feel bad because he was the only one else on the Weeb Club. Like he was interested. He liked the BSA more than most of its members. Yet he was the one who got kicked off because of that personality difference, right?
Well, yeah, because then every other recording, every normal BSA recording had Meatman screaming at him.
Right.
And
so
I
it's
remember,
right, and that was the problem. It's like, well, if we're gonna choose between retro and Meatman, we would have we liked the people who had real say liked Meatman better, and so that kind of left
and
retro.
It caused, dude.
Yeah.
The call where we kicked retro was one of the hardest things I've ever
fucking
sat through
uncomfortable as
being
fuck.
honest.
The entire time, no, put it this way: the entire time I was sitting there and I was just fucking doing one of those fucking medical pain scales, like posting it the entire time. And I was apparently retro had me muted.
Yeah.
He couldn't hear me, so I was just like,
No, because you were doing jokes the whole time to like just try.
I was so fucking
from the
uncomfortable.
pain.
There was one point where it
Right.
sounded like he was like about to cry because he enjoyed doing the BSA and didn't want to be gone. And we just had to tell him, like, dude, like, we just can't do it with you.
No, I remember because I was the one doing most of the talking because I was at, like, especially looking back, I do feel bad for that reason, but also, like, I was also one of the ones who was the least, like, tolerant of him, right? Because I was, like, me and Meatman were the ones yelling literal child at him, right? So, like, I ended up being the one to talk to him about most of it. Like, it's probably less than I remember, but it was a substantial portion, I feel, because no one else wanted to do it because you guys liked him. And I know looking back, like, I feel bad, but also, like, because really what I feel bad about is that the BSA was a shit show and we were trying to take a shit show seriously when we should have just done something else sooner, right?
Well, yeah, okay, so do we want to talk about okay, here's the problem. Do we want to talk about the Seth video? Because you just kind of alluded to going into something more serious, which is essentially this.
Yes.
But we do need to talk about the Seth video, I think, because that was super important.
Let's talk about the Seth video, then we'll go back to the BSA Weeb Club and talk more like, because we did kick retro off and we kept doing that, and that'll segue into the actual Weeb Club, or the current Weeb Club, so to speak. But, so, Seth video, from what I remember, WattheWut, because he just does this thing where he gets, like, hyper fixated on one thing.
Okay, let me tell you what happened.
It started because what made a tweet?
No.
Tweet?
So let me tell you what happened.
Oh, that's right. Seth guested on the BSA. There was a whole thing there.
No. So you guys are going way too far ahead. Let me tell you what happened, because I remember this. Seth, the programmer, made a video called, like, The Problem with Power Scaling, where he made this video about how, like, all these random people, like, don't, like, have this vendetta against power scaling. And from my perspective, I was like, I don't know, you know, I could see why people would be irritated, because here's the thing, Seth's videos back then were kind of not good. Even he admitted that, because, like, they were made, you know, they were made week, like, with every single episode, he'd make, like, almost daily content where he was just Discord calls with him and his buddies, fucking, like, with just shit-ass audio, fucking terrible production value. But because he was doing it constantly, and about topics that were popular, he was getting views for it, so he didn't really care. And I remember, like, calling him out for that, because the entire time I was like, because my entire thing was like, you're really, like, generalizing a lot of people, because that's a big thing you'll find with me. If you generalize things around me, I get fucking triggered and not happy. And, like, this was, like, this whole thing, and then I made a tweet about it, where I was saying I was going to make a video about him. And immediately he wanted to debate, because that's the way he kind of operates. He'd rather debate with someone than make the video. And I was so disinterested in anything except making the video, because I've seen the way he was acting before, where he already went into every single conversation not intending to fucking, you know, actually have a conversation. He wanted to beat the shit out of them in a verbal debate. And it was at the point where, like, fucking shithole Vindy offered to debate him. And I didn't know I was getting involved in this shit. We were recording the fucking BSA Weeb Club, and then Vindy says, Seth said he wants to join. And I was like, no, do not let him in.
And then we recorded, I remember it was BSA episode 13.
I requested.
And it was me, you, Retro, and Seth.
I requested specifically, do not do this. I do not want to do this. And you were like, I'm going to do it. And Retro was like, it'll be fun. And I was like, God, no, it won't. I know it won't. And then you fuckers, you pieces of shit, had a debate about pedophilia and fucking...
It's okay. I've done this before.
Like...
Yeah, look, there was some...
You asshole.
I still stand by some of the shit being said by Seth, and that was fucking dumb as fuck. But I definitely should have done that. But also, I still like. Here's the thing: like, it was a dumb thing to do, and it was a bad idea. But I think that doing that, the benefits outweigh.
Oh, they massively outweigh.
The world that we're in because I did that is 10 times better than the world that we would have been in if I had.
Right, because what happened is like, so, you know, obviously that happened. It was embarrassing for everyone involved. Because it got dumber after that. Because so let's see, like what didn't really debate, but people were like Seth fans were acting as though Seth beats what in debate, even though Vindy was doing most of the talking.
And I was like, I just wanted to die.
So then you did who was the guy who you made pretend to be you and debate?
He was a
Seth?
part of the Crow Massacre.
Oh my god, who the fuck
not even
was
worth
that?
talking about.
No, I want to talk about it because it was cringe and bad. And
Oh my
I
god,
don't
it
know
was
why
one of the Crow
fuck you did
Massacres.
it.
Oh my god, what's his name? What was his
name's
name?
fucking... Dude, I don't fucking remember. I know his profile picture was scissors.
It was the leader of the Crow Massacres.
Profile picture was scissors. I don't know his fucking name.
Yes. I know exactly who you're talking about. I don't remember.
So yeah,
Look,
basically, so
this was 3 years ago. You guys got to cut us some slack.
So yeah, basically, you got someone to debate Seth, and you guys all like listened in, and like you guys were like DMing him advice, and he ignored it apparently.
Ignored
and it got really
every
cringe and
single
bad.
thing we ever said, and started.
Yeah, and then Seth like there was it got released on one of Seth's channels. What Seth beats what in debate, and it wasn't actually what, and maybe it was mentioned in the video but it was cringe. It was bad, and you stopped doing your weird like. You're not Aizen, what? I'm sorry. You're not some master puppeteer. Kyoka Suigetsu. That wasn't really what. No.
Let me fucking tell you.
That's not you.
You want to know what the fucking plan?
Don't do that
no,
shit.
because I fucking can't work. Because people don't do what I told them to do, and it's this is the plan. This is what I.
Because you're not Aizen.
This is what I fucking wanted him to do. I said, just go in there. Don't actually debate him. Just agree with everything he says, but pretend that you don't. Right? Pretend that you're like say for example, Craftsdwarf says, you know what? You're wrong because Luffy is actually a good character. And then I go, no, you see, here's the thing. I don't think Luffy's that good a character. Right? It'd be something really fucking stupid. And the joke was you go in there, you get out, and nothing, and like just meme the fuck out of him. I had like no involvement. They already started and they added me, and I was like, fine, fucking whatever.
Okay, I didn't know that. I just remember hearing you like advising him.
It was a shit
No,
show. It was
No, that's why I thought it was cringe.
No, I don't think What and I were a
You
part
know
of it
who
at all.
wasn't
They
part
were
of it?
doing it, and then we found out about it after.
Mr. Cynical
Retro. Oh yeah, you're right.
and motherfucking Unknown Otaku.
Oh my god.
Unknown Otaku fucking ate that shit up and pretended wanted to be the center of attention.
That was when I realized Unknown was a two-faced bitch because he was playing both sides the entire time.
No, that's what because he was he didn't like start standing against Seth until like he got banned from his server or stuff like that, or
yeah, because he was saying some shit about how he was a Navy SEAL and all the information he knew and how people would be killed if they said like if they knew he was gonna say some of the stuff he was gonna say, and so they just banned his ass. That's a true fucking story.
Yeah, cringy
that
as fuck, dude. Good thing we've recognized that he's a bad person and don't interact with him anymore.
I was pissed What talked to him for as long as he did, honestly. But that was back when here's the thing is people might not understand why What has had as much drama as he had. It was because it used to be a drama channel, and those channels just live and feed off of it, and that eventually he kind of had to learn that I don't know, these people are just fucking cringe, and he had to distance himself from a lot of them because they were his friends, but
we joke about What being toxic, but these drama people are actually legitimately toxic. They're actually bad people. And
put it this way,
need to stay away.
Seth from the fucking beginning, when I started talking to Seth, told me that these fuckers were stupid and I need to stop talking to them. He called every single person I ever talked to before a fucking weirdo, right? And this is
What the fuck?
Not you two. He actually likes you two. He actually likes you two. So
that's weird.
Why am mutuals with him on Twitter, even though we've only talked to him
I feel like I've never interacted with him at all.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Is that our Seth being friends with me was the weirdest shit. But that's
well, okay, we gotta get to the video.
But but that's besides the point, because especially what happened. I made the video. It was an hour-long thing. We split it into 3 sections. My section was entirely dedicated to power scaling has nothing to do with the narrative. because it is entirely fucking separated from it, which Seth agrees with.
Right, and then Vindy's point was about like debate and rhetoric.
Yeah.
I forget exactly
Which I still
what you
think,
said.
like, editing terrible. I still think a lot of what I was saying was actually pretty
really
fair. But
and I haven't reread Dragon Ball, so I don't know because mostly what I talked about like certain specific points in his videos. Like I remember one.
Yeah, you were talking about the narrative specifically,
right? Because like I remember there was one I definitely remember having a problem with was how he like dismissed Gohan and Trunks. Young Trunks, or no, Goten and younger Trunks, excuse me, because they got Super Saiyan, and he's like, oh well, that's a gag, and it's like there's a difference between that and here's the consequence of their actions, like because they failed to contain Super Buu, he escaped and killed everyone. Is this a gag? Is that part of the gag?
But
right,
because I figured out what he was trying to say later on. What he was trying to say is that their powers are like gags. So, like, in terms of scaling, it's not exactly, like, relative. But it got lost because it was unscripted. And, like, he was just dicking around at a call. Which was, like, the whole thing. Because when you get to my part of the video, my entire thing was two things. One, power scaling has nothing to do with the narrative, which is just what he agrees with. And two, your videos are shittily made and, like, they could be better if you just scripted them and bothered to put production value in them.
And guess what? He scripted them, and now there are production values in them now.
What immediately changed after that video was that, and all of a sudden, Seth's one of the best video and like content creators in anime YouTube right now, right?
And and he's also probably one of your best played clients for editing because you edit videos for him.
Well, hold on now.
Saying full transparency.
I don't edit videos for that man because he fucking gives me money.
No. That's not what Craftsdwarf is saying at all.
Man, because his cock is what?
Right, no, Crafts isn't saying you edit for him, but just that he does pay his editors well is what Crafts is getting at.
Seth is just a really cool person in general. It's just that when you only know him based off of what he does, you just think that he's a piece of shit.
Right, and I think like what really matters about the Seth video, more than like Seth himself or anything, is that while we were all because funny enough, I did script my part of the Seth video, even though I don't script shit now. But like we all sat in voice when all three of us scripted our parts. We
read over each other's parts. That was our first collab, and that was also around when you guys asked me to be a part of the BSA.
And I mean, it was like a long, like it was the first time, we all like seriously, even outside of the BSA or the BSA Weeb Club, it was the first time we had seriously worked together on content.
Right.
And we were working on that video for like a month or longer.
It took a while,
we released
right? Because I think that was the first. What was that? The first thing you did after the Digi-series?
Yeah, it was. It literally was.
I'm moving on from drama content. Oops, all drama.
Oops, all drama.
Sorry,
no, like actually, like it was the Seth video that made me be like, no, I can't do this anymore. Like legitimately, I was so tired that I was like, I can't do this anymore. And it was like at that point where I had this fucking weird existential crisis about like, because God, talk about how long it took me before I made the first Love Live video. Like what it took for me to fucking make it. Because holy shit.
Oh yeah, because that didn't come out until fucking like July, like summer, right? Because this would have been like late December or like fall winter for the Seth video, and then early or like winter the next year, early winter the next year for like the what's it called? Shit, my brain just stopped working. No, because I put in a Sasuke video in March, so right, but then it wouldn't be till because I'm pretty sure I remember watching a School Idol video at Anime Expo, which would have been in July.
Right. Yeah. Because I was like trying to get everybody to watch it, be like, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Because here's the thing. Here's something you guys got to know. Every single fucking video I make, I like have people watch it to see if there's anything I fucking did wrong. Right? I watched the video, every single video I make at least like 10 times to verify if anything's wrong with it. Like I'm fucking. The less I watch a video is actually more indicative of how bad it is. So that's just something you should know. But
yeah, well, and
sorry, real quick, just looking at what's channel, excluding hidden videos because I can't like see those just looking at his channel. Like the Love Live video was the first one. Like there's the power scaling videos because you did the interviews with other YouTubers and people and asked them like questions about power scaling. Which is actually like a really shitty thing. I'm highly considered. I'm probably just gonna enlist those anyway because it's like I'm looking. They're actually really bad. Sad. And then after that was the top 10 anime of 2017. Which is like late and like what I don't know what that is. But then the School Idol, the Love Live video is your first like actual video, right? As far, like that's the birth of the WattheWut as we like know him today. Like content.
If you look at that video, I think it's either that one or the fucking Violet Evergarden video, where everyone in the comments is like, "I did not expect this to come from you, but holy shit."
Right. Well, because like there's just such a rapid shift, right? Like going from drama angry YouTuber to crybaby analysis. Because like
knowing what it was so obvious to all of us, but it is funny because like I do understand why people didn't get it at the time,
Mm-hmm. Well, of course we were talking to him throughout, right? And like he talked about this to all of us. Like he was talking about this stuff as it was happening, right? So yeah.
Well, one thing to note about around this time of the Seth video and the BSA Weeb Club, this is around when Nunmanji started to become a BSA fan, started to watch our content.
Because he was following me, at least from because I definitely got ats from him, curious cat questions from him. I don't think he's gone on record denying that he's Craft's nephew. That's a whole other thing I never want to talk about again.
I think I know who Craft's nephew is, actually. I think it was told to me. I don't know if I should say.
Please, God, DM it to me or something.
I'm going to type it in. No one say it. I'm pretty sure this is who Craft's nephew is. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure someone told me that.
Okay. Weird.
That's
I think weird. That's who it is. It is weird. I think that's what I was told, but I cannot be sure on that. But I'm pretty sure someone told me one time.
I straight up don't believe that. I straight up don't believe that. That's real.
Look. Oh my god. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Okay, I can't be for sure.
I like the guy, but I just
the way you fucking laugh.
Thought that's funny.
Every time you laugh, I want to fucking like call the police.
Well, yeah, no. And so around this point, and I wanted to bring up Nun because he matters, even if he fucking didn't bring his mic and he's not recording now. Nun does matter. It's true. So I wanted to bring him up. I wanted to explain when, whatever.
Unlucky.
No, but because he was definitely like a fan of, like I remember when, because he was even a fan of, like obviously he was listening to all our stuff in the Weeb Club, but yeah, he was a fan of me most, I think, at least at first, and then he became fans of you guys. And then, of course, like, because I remember when Vindy, you said you were going to do chapter reviews. That was when on my server he changed everyone's name to be like jacking off Vindy. Because
no, he had already done that. Oh, he'd done that way before.
I thought, never mind. Yeah. I'm misremembering. He was just really fucking excited about that.
Nun was already basically a Weeb Club member by then.
Or at least he was a very big fan. But
I mean, Nun was essentially the shadow member from the minute we started doing the Weeb Club. Mm-hmm. And we started doing the Weeb Club
you're right, because he was on
reviews.
the, like, well, because we had the people, and Drock was there for a bit because he did the intro, but then he, like, didn't follow what we did, so he kind of, like, elbowed him out, I guess. But Nun, we, never did. And then he eventually joined. So.
Well, because Nun was talking a lot, was really active with us, and over time we all got to know Nun a lot better, and we started talking to Nun.
Like, fucking fondling
and then we liked Nun. Right, and then me and Nun have gay sex constantly, but that's besides the point.
Well.
Anyway, the Seth video was the first content we made together.
Yeah.
We were doing the BSA Weeb Club, and Retro was eventually discarded from the guild, cast out. To
cut off his Fudakake.
It was sad. It was like I already talked about. Oh my god. And really that was where we just the three of us interacting, talking about anime, and I feel like Vindy, you watched some of the old episodes. You said you could, like, aside from there being too many pauses because of the bad editing, it was very much like the Weeb Club we would kind of come to do. Like, you could sound like us feeling out our dynamic, right?
A lot of those early episodes, I went back and listened to them way when we like around like a couple months after starting this Weeb Club, and like there was a lot of pauses. There was some edgy humor that was cringe, but a lot of what like the way we were talking about it was very much us feeling out the way we talk about things now. We still talked about the media very similar to how we talk about it now in like the backlogs and stuff.
Yeah, no, I know some things have changed, because I remember having like a point in the Place for in the Universe video, because when What said it made me feel good, but because I was bringing up how like there's the one episode around the middle show where there's like the icebreaker ship that kind of like, if it doesn't break through the ice, it just backs up and tries again, which was kind of linked to the conflict of the episode where she she was talking to like her mom's friend, and they like never really clicked until just then because they kept trying, and then there was a guy who liked the older but and you didn't realize, you didn't make that connection. You were like, oh my god, you like that? I thought of that, right? Like there's an analysis, and like nowadays when we make big brain points, we don't like pat each other on the back for it
because generally it's like all of us already figured it out, right?
Right.
One of us is just the first to say it.
Yeah, or some. I mean, you guys say sometimes that I didn't think about.
Yeah, all the time. Senile old man.
Yeah. Shut up. But anyway, so that's just like a kind of example as to how like it's the same thing we do now, but it was very new then. And then but yeah, we kept doing episodes. Like I remember Majipoke, like it started. Majipoke was the first one I remember being, because like what stopped being consistent with the shows, and then Vindy stopped being, because we started Tokuger, and then at that point it was like, well, Vindy's like, I'm not gonna watch a 50 episode show.
Yeah, he still hates
24
Toku.
Episodes just to catch up.
The only thing
right?
thematically consistent with Vindy is that he hates Toku.
The one I was more mad about was Asuna fucking Joe, because you were reading it and then you Vindied it. Like
I did Vindy.
I can't even see, and it's funny like I say that because like that's a joke that doesn't hold up anymore because you don't drop things nearly as often. Like you're much better about finishing stuff, and the Weeb Club is a reason for that. But back
there was,
in the day,
I used to be way better. I finished like 150 anime before I dropped my first one. But there was a period of time with anime and with games especially where I was known for Vindying things, where I'd start something, get a little of the ways into it, and then just never touch it again.
Right, and Ashino Joe was something we were going to do a Weeb Club on because Megalobox happened, so WattheWut had read it to get context for Megalobox for his video on it. I was rereading it because...
Video, dude, it's so bad. There's so many videos.
I love talking about all the WattheWut videos because like I should just unlist that.
That's
one.
like the second time it's happened. This like in the last like 20
It's
minutes.
true though. There's so many of my fucking videos.
Yeah,
are
and
bad.
I was also rereading it for my Megalobox and Ashino Joe video, which is fine. And I'm not unlistening it.
What the fuck?
But yeah, so like, and I was I remember being like Vindy, because like that was like 3 episodes in a row. It was like Tokuger, Ashino Joe, and Tokuger Part 2 out of 4. And Vindy wasn't on any of them, and like that's kind of those were the last episodes of the old Weeb Club because we were struggling to get people to watch
at the
stuff.
time. But also at the time, the Weeb Club was just dying, like
or the BSA. You mean
the BSA? Sorry, was just dying.
That's
like
yeah.
And I don't mean dying in terms of views.
No one wanted to do it anymore.
Because we were even at that point getting
we had Mumkey,
200 views
where
always
Mr.
gotten.
Stanford, the guy who I mentioned before, he was the one who sent letters to to Best Guy Ever, who that like led me to the podcast with WattheWut and Kaiser, and like no one knows who this guy is. He just was a fan of AniTube at like 2018, and he gave money to AniTubers.
Hey,
and
I have a question.
Occasionally made them do stuff.
He sent Mumkey like 100, 1,000, however much money to be on a BSA episode.
Right, and then so Mumkey was on an episode. We recorded, talked about it. We were all a little, I think, nervous about it because it was Mumkey Jones, and like a lot of us liked his stuff. And then he did a video on his main channel talking about how shit it was. But he pointed, the video was the most viewed one on the channel.
And we like took pride in that shit.
They did crazy well.
Fucking cringe.
Right, so and that was and we did have like we weren't suffering for views, I don't think, even though the BSA was struggling to like be a thing, but that was also part of why we were taking it more seriously, which is why we kicked Retro off, even though like he was one of the people who cared about it, and that's also why we wanted to do something else. And so like I already mentioned, we kind of like sat together, we got even other BSA members who were there, and we talked about it, and like I already mentioned, we had the realization that a lot of us aren't into the same things. And so
that conversation happened later. So the channel was just dying. People weren't showing up for episodes. I wasn't showing up for episodes. I wasn't even on the episode Nunmanji guested on. Just because, like, I think at that point I had just kind of given up.
No, that episode was sad. I think it was just me, What, and Nunmanji. And the reason that episode was sad is because me and What were just talking about Anime Expo, and Nun wasn't there. He was also even more, like, he's already, like, even now, he still doesn't talk as much, I guess, like, because he's still the newest member. Like, he's the Azusa, right? And this is back then, he's, like, middle school Azusa. Like, he doesn't even know these people. Like, no, he knows them, but he's, like, a distant...
I'm Yui!
He's fucking cute.
Anyway, the analogy doesn't work. But my point was, like, so me and What are talking about Anime Expo, and Nunmanji's just, like, there, saying nothing. And it felt kind of sad for him. But,
yeah, well, and I mean, it was a whole thing at the time, right? And, it was dying. And the reason that I'm glad you brought up Anime Expo is because I actually remember really clearly how the conversations that led to the Weeb Club went, which is we went to Anime Expo, right? And I didn't hang out with y'all as much because I had went with a group.
Yes.
Like I carpooled with a group. And so I wanted to hang out with them as much as possible.
But
because,
that was
like I had gone with them and I was staying with them and I didn't want to just like show up at the Airbnb after being gone for like 6 hours. But there were times, you know, where I had left them to hang out with you and what, right? Mm-hmm. Because we had planned to meet up and we met up.
And that was the first and only time that we've met in person, right? At Anime Expo that year? Yeah, that's what I
Yeah, it was Anime Expo 2019.
Yes.
And I remember like we met and we hung out.
No, wait, hold on. Did we meet at 2018 Expo?
We did,
Okay, so that was the second time I met but the first time we met you. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
And so we met and we had a really good time. And I really liked talking to you and what. And I remember thinking on my drive back multiple times, I was like, man, I miss doing the BSA. I really like talking. Because like at this point, I'd been in the BSA for over a year. And the BSA had been dead for like 6 months. Of like just no real content.
Also, only semi-related. I didn't recognize Meatman at first because his voice doesn't like it sounded different, and and he also wasn't talking as much. And I was like, oh wait, you're Meatman. But anyway, that's unrelated. I just wanted to share that.
I remember hanging out with Meatman because me, What, and Meatman were hanging out, and we did the bubbles. And that was fun as fuck.
Yeah, it was. That was so hot. What?
But so whatever. So
fuck?
Then because of that, I remember. I think the person I DM'd actually first about it was What. I DM'd What, and I was like, hey, we should either start the BSA back up or remake it, but make it serious and make sure that only people who want to seriously make something are a part of it. And What was like immediately like, yeah, I'm fucking down. Like, let's fucking do
horny. We were so hot. It was so hot.
Okay, yeah, then after that was when we had the group conversation, and then we eventually like realized, you know, the only ones who have the combination of like shared interests and in doing something good and also like click together was the people who are already doing something on the BSA as a separate thing, right?
Yeah, and so then it kind of started this whole long thing where we started it and we were like, hey, who wants to, you know, do something? And like, I think from the beginning, like What and I knew that it was going to be the three of us. Like, I kind of knew when I started the conversations it was going to be the three of us. And I kind of hoped Meatman, but I think I knew he wasn't really going to be it. And I think I knew it was going to be the three of us doing something, right? Mm-hmm. And part of that was because I didn't really want to do anything with Flutter. And that's not to say I don't like Flutter. Flutter's a great guy. But
as far as content goes,
you know, I don't want to.
You guys are so toxic,
I want to try to laugh when I make content.
You guys are so toxic. You know that? Like, damn. You
I'm just
do
being
this,
honest.
man, like that.
I mean, we didn't cut him off because after that we did do the D&D, right? Which we didn't ultimately
did with
well, we should have continued, but Crusher's house fucking exploded, or the foundation. So he was, and so I think literally everyone was saying like, hey, like I remember pushing Flutter, and Crusher was even like, hey. You guys can just play, and I was like, yeah, we can just play. We don't need Crusher. He just plays a bird who doesn't say anything and just hits things. He's not even really there. But then Flutter never restarted the game, and so it's.
Did you know that actually
anyway,
that whole group was actually made in spite of me too? Like they started actually using that as like a fucking group made despite me. Did you know that?
What
the D&D thing? There was like a group that like Flutter had full of like D&D.
Oh, that was a different D&D group than the one we were a part of.
This one it was Flutter as the game master, then me, Vindy, Bohm, who was a friend of
Jason,
and then Crusher,
Jason?
And then Crusher, and that was our group, and we had like two sessions, I think it was only two,
maybe three, including character creation.
Yeah, but and it didn't go for very long. But
no, I mean, yeah, we still talked to Flutter and hung out with him. It was just that we didn't want to. I personally. I think I didn't want to make content with him.
No.
But I mean, yeah, and so then that kind of slowly turned into like, yeah, I think we kind of eventually realized, and then like Toolman was a part of it, maybe like kind of in talks, but then when he realized that wasn't going to work,
it just kind of he just doesn't have a shared like he just isn't interested in anime, right? Or like I know
right.
he's seen I'm sure he sees some, like he's friends with What, so of course, but it's not like a thing he really likes, especially not doing a podcast on it with three people who are way more into it, right? Like that's just not gonna work.
And so it eventually became, you know, kind of started to form what we had now, and we just decided to take originally actually the name of the podcast, I don't know if y'all remember, was going to be the Homosexuals.
That's right.
That would have not,
but we couldn't do it because it was taken on both like YouTube and SoundCloud and Twitter. It was taken everywhere. So then we stopped and we went back and we're like, okay,
let's just do the Weeb,
originally
what we already have, because it's a generic
Club,
enough. The Weeb Club is generic enough that it's like whatever, right?
Yeah, and we'd already used the name, and I think we could also kind of realize like, oh, like the original idea for the Weeb Club was kind of closer to what it is now, where it's more than just the one podcast. So it isn't just, we do one podcast, but we're gonna do group content and all these other things. We had all these big ideas, but I think we almost kind of started too big. Where like what we should have just started with was what we kind of did, where we do a podcast. And then now we know how to do the podcast. Now we can branch out and do other types of content, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. And of course, well, I think you were the one who suggested the idea for the seasonals because, like, you commented on, like, hey, whenever there's seasonal discussion, it's either, like, like what I remember Digi and Best Guy ever did with, like, Manga Sensei, where they watch something, or Made in Abyss, or they watch one show one at a time. And they're still doing, or they're still kind of doing that, I think, with content. Right. But... So, and then of course, or the alternative is you get the big seasonal discussions where everyone watches like the first one or two episodes of the shows, and then they talk about all the shows. And so you propose the seasonals as kind of a middle ground. So, and that's so we did them as, where we're talking about multiple shows as they go. And that was honestly fine until the last season that we did it, because
part of the problem was, I'm sure, honestly, COVID really screwed us, because all the shows you would have been interested in couldn't come out.
Yeah, and with what happened with the last season is also just that, like, all the shows we didn't, like, they were just so middling that we just didn't have that much to say about them. So, like, the conversation was interesting. So, like, I was assuming episode 0 of the new weekly show is out by now, the time this comes out.
Yeah,
like, I don't remember us talking. No, I think we talked about it after the fact. But what works about that weekly show is that we bring up what we want to talk about ourselves instead of being forced to talk about something that whether we have something to say on it or not. Right, because the seasonals ended up being really inconsistent. Like, I guess we're just talking about the current Weeb Club now, which is fine because we already got to the birth of the Weeb Club. So it's like, yeah, because like we'd have shows like ReZero, we're super into it, and we want to talk about it a lot, and then we just like got to high school, we hate it, can we move on? Or Kuma Bear, it's fine, move on, right? Like, which is a problem. When you have whole segments of your weekly show that just don't matter and no one wants to be on or listen to.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the thing is, like, we kind of started what we were doing. And I mean, here's the thing is, I think people at the time of recording are upset because, at first I think it was pretty clear that, like, we just weren't recording at all. We weren't talking, the people that are in Discord and are part of, I guess, the community surrounding the Weeb Club. It was pretty clear that we weren't talking a lot and we weren't recording, stuff like that. And there was, some tension, which all the tension's gone now. There's no problems, right?
I don't know about that.
That's the most I'm going to say on it. Okay, now the tension is replaced with sexual tension. That doesn't count.
Okay, that's not what I meant.
But, we're recording again and it's fine. And I understand people are upset because, like, we've been recording for, like, 2 months now. And it's like, there's nothing that's been uploaded. But we recorded for like 2-3 months before we uploaded it in the first place, right?
The difference is we didn't have a fan. Like, there was no one who was like, oh, boy, I can't wait for the next BSA Weeb Club episode. I mean, maybe there were, but, like, it's also the BSA, so who cares? Where, like, when obviously, there was no Weeb Club. Because, yeah, we recorded Tatame Galaxy, like, a month or two before any seasonal uploads came out. Or even the Tatame Galaxy episode came out, because we had the idea was to because we especially after like Tokyuger and Ashino Joe and there was some other stuff where WattheWut didn't show either, so it's like I think I was the only one who was on every episode since I joined, at least, but I wasn't on every episode because I wasn't there from the start, obviously. Because I remember being like, well, I want you guys to just fucking watch shows and be there. And then I would be the first person to not finish the thing with Fire Force, but, that's neither here nor there.
Okay,
well, I'm still upset that joke episode you made is the only Weeb Club I haven't been on. Because other than that, I'm the only one. Before that, I was the only one who had been on every episode. Because I think you missed one for something. Or you didn't finish Fire Force, so you weren't really on the episode.
Right, and WattheWut had realized stuff and couldn't be there.
You need to actually fucking finish Fire Force. Holy shit.
No.
Yes! Holy shit.
At this point, I might as well wait until it ends.
Exactly.
And then I'll wait a bunch longer because I have more interesting shit I can get to.
I hate you, actually. I hate you.
Okay, so either way, and so, like, it's, and by this point, it's not going to be a problem because we're going to be back to uploading. But we're trying to figure out, season 2 of the Weeb Club. And by the time this comes out, hopefully, unless we decide to release
out.
Unless we decide to release this earlier in season 2, because it kind of works as like a good intro into the early parts of season 2. Like what we've already started doing and what we're planning to do is a lot better than what we were doing before, right? I think the three of us can agree on that. Like, it's more varied content. You know, we're doing more than just missionary this time. So, you know, it should be better for everyone. And I think that it's interesting how we've reached this place. And now we've added Nunmanji because, as we mentioned, Nun was around since the start of the Weeb Club. He's known it. There was a period of time where the only people who knew about the Weeb Club when we were recording before we ever uploaded was the three of us, Nun and Drock.
Right.
And, like, none of us were talking about it at all until the day the first episode of the Weeb Club came out. And then we were all tweeting about it and posting about it.
Yeah, and
but
like,
we hadn't talked about it
so
before
what?
then.
I'm actually curious. How did my server get made?
Okay.
Because I remember I got Curious Cat questions about someone saying you should make a Discord server, and I'm like, no, I don't want to. And I know you and Nun were involved, but give your side of it, and I'll get to why that's important.
Back in the day, Craftsdwarf was the biggest one out of all of us. And at the time, I was like, Craftsdwarf, I have a server and you don't have one? That's fucking cringe. And you were like, no, I don't want one. And I was like, all right, you fucking bitch, watch this. And then I made a fucking server and then made you my... And I made you the fucking owner.
You like bullied me into joining it, and I did eventually that day. But I remember, I think Nunnan joined first, and he was also a mod when I joined because he was also. I feel like he was helping you make the server because he was a Craftsdwarf fan.
Yeah, so we made the server for you, and then all of a sudden, the server that you didn't want was the only place you ever fucking talked, and you were like having.
It's the only place on the internet I'm really active in, really. Like, I don't look at my own comments. I tweet out videos and stuff and occasionally reply to people on Twitter. Like, I lurk Twitter, but I'm not active on Twitter. I definitely lurk my Discord more, but I'm more active there and sometimes the Vindy Nun one, but infrequently. And that's basically it. That's like most of my online presence. And the reason I guess it's semi-important is because that was where we recorded the Weeb Club, because it was a server that we're all in, and so it just made it like a separate voice channel, and we used that.
Yeah, we recorded the Weeb Club in there for a long... I mean, it really was season 2 is when we started recording in a private call.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, it definitely took us... And here's why it's super interesting because we did the BSA Weeb Club. And like I said, we kind of figured out our groove. So when we started recording the actual Weeb Club, and then because we had recorded a couple backlogs, by the time we started doing seasonals for the Weeb Club, we had everything figured out dynamic-wise, you know? And because of that, we were able to just jump right into it. And even now, like, the one thing that's kind of stayed consistent about the Weeb Club, as long as the three of us are all together, and the four of us with None, is that, like, we have a good dynamic and we can play off each other well, you know?
And yeah, you can tell, like, we were taking it seriously because, like, we kept the backlogs, like, I think the seasonals were also consistent. There was maybe, like, maybe one had to be delayed a day because of the, you know, editing, someone didn't have time, or just, like, obviously missing weeks between seasons because there was nothing to talk about, or, like, one episode, so it wasn't worth it. But, like, the backlogs, I feel like we were super consistent on until, like, the end of season 1 of the Weeb Club because of various personal issues and personal troubles going on, which is like, because speaking at the time of this recording, there are 2 season 1 backlogs that still have not been edited and put on the channel
that are kind of just getting shoved into season 2 just because at this point there's no reason.
They're artifacts, basically, 1. Right?
Yeah.
Part of that is because we haven't recorded another backlog since those, but you
Sexual
know.
tension.
But you guys, by the way, I watched the show 3 months ago, going on 4. Just saying.
I don't know what he's talking about.
And the show we were going to discuss after that.
Talking about?
What's he talking about?
What's he talking about, Vindy?
I have no clue.
It's being weird right now.
New year, new me. I don't remember anything from before 2021.
They're so toxic.
What did
Toxicity unparalleled. They have the ability from Pokemon that allows poison. See, that's the thing. Is like, we're all poison type, but WattheWut has the ability that allows poison type Pokemon to poison other poison type Pokemon.
What the heck? Fucking nerds talking to nerd speak now. Holy shit. Shut up. Go outside, you fucking bitch. Holy shit.
I don't know what that ability is called, but I know WattheWut has it.
What, going outside? It's called legs.
Oh my fucking god, you did not just say that.
Anyway, that I think about covers it for the history of the Weeb Club, which went on way longer than I thought it was. Holy shit. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, there's like a 2-hour-long episode, and there's still more we can talk about.
We can talk about where None actually gets his fucking mic.
Yeah, there's so much. Like, here's the thing, right? Again, we've known each other for 3 years at this point, and not only have we all known each other for 3 years, even the year of the Weeb Club, like the 2019 through 2020, into 2019 through into 2020, season 1 of the Weeb Club, we weren't really going into behind the scenes shit at all, right?
No.
We didn't have a place to do it. Now, we kind of did in the seasonals, but not really. So we have 3 years of bullshit that we can talk about if people want to hear more of the Weeb Club lore, right? Like that could be like the lore of the Weeb Club, where we slowly give away all the little things that have happened, or go more in depth into things that we talked about here. But I think this is a good place because now we've kind of brought it all the way through to where we are now. I think this is a good place.
Yeah, we really sped through the season 1 Weeb Club, but we obviously, right? Like we don't need to talk about. And then we did this backlog. Like I don't know what else we could talk about aside from what we already did. So.
Right, and most of the real stuff is either stuff we personally I don't want to talk about, or that people kind of have the gist of for the last year. I mean, people saw what happened the last year of the Weeb Club. Like they have ears, they can listen. The channel has been up, so
yeah.
But anyway, so hopefully you liked it and found it interesting. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe before I shoot myself for saying that.
Leave a like, comment, and suck my dick.
The funny thing is I never said that ever in any video, whether I've made it or it's a podcast or
Well,
That's funny. Craftsdwarf won't tell people to subscribe to his channel, but he'll tell them to sub to the Weeb
Apparently.
Club. All right. Adios, muchachos.
I like money.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.